Welcome to Southern Cross Resistance. I am your host, Chris Leeson. Today we have a brand new episode in our new studio. This is episode 14. And joining me today is Dave O'Reilly. How are you doing today, dude?
I'm pretty good, man. Thanks for having me.
No, you're right, man. You're right. Just as I was doing the introduction, I was like, fuck, does he want me to use his full name? Because we've done podcasts in the past where I've gone, oh, here's so-and-so, and I've done their full name. And they're like, can you edit that out, please? It's like your face is right there, man.
Yeah.
Like if somebody knows you, they're gonna recognize you. I just don't want my name used, man. It's like, oh, okay, whatever. Oh, fine. This is blah, and I just make up some bullshit euphemism. But anyway, today is our 14th episode in our brand new studio. And before we get started into the stack of articles I have here, people might notice that the whole system has changed a little bit. It's because we've got a new. Anyway, well, I'm getting off track again. I'm gonna edit that bit out. No, but before we get stuck into the articles I have here, I normally don't talk about entertainment news, but last night I logged online, or this morning I should say, and saw an article that sort of upset me. You know Kevin Smith?
Yes.
He recently had a heart attack. Yeah. And I saw the article and I'm like, oh no! You know, brought it up, and you know, lucky he's still alive, and you know, everything's going well for him. But honestly, man, not many. When you say celebrities or whatever, fucking, if they die, I really just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't fucking bother me any. Like,
They made something of significance that you care about.
Yeah, exactly. But Clerks, man, Clerks is one of my favorite fucking movies of all fucking. I can't say that because I think Clerks 2 is better than Clerks 1.
Never actually fully watched Clerks 1.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. I've watched most of his other ones.
Yeah.
Just not Clerks.
That's like the first one, man. It's like
Yeah,
it's like missing in Star Wars: A New Hope, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, I know who's his father, so what's the fucking point? No, Clerks is the acting's not good. You know what I mean? How
Yeah.
can it be? It's just all of his mates and stuff. But there's something that's really awesome about the original movie. Strictly black and white. I remember the first time I watched it with a friend of mine. Got 5 minutes in, she's like, why aren't they going to colour? I was like, I guess the movie's not in colour. Well, I'm not fucking watching movies. And she got up and left the room. I'm like, but it's Jay and Silent Bob. You love Jay and Silent Bob. I don't give a fuck if it's not in colour. I'm not watching it. Oh, okay, rightio. So one day I'm bringing her on the podcast, and I'm just going to do the entire episode black and white. That way she'll never know exactly what she said during the podcast or what I kept in or deleted or whatever. But anyway, we normally don't talk about fucking celebrities and shit like that, but fuck me, man, if something happened to Kevin Smith, I guarantee I'll start to bawl my eyes out.
He was lucky to survive that. Full blockage or something.
Hey?
It was like a full blockage of some certain part of his body.
Yeah, sorry, I'm going to have to keep talking, man. I'm just going to adjust your mic. I didn't quite adjust it. I don't even know which chord's which. I'm just turning them all up. But anyway,
No, he had some blockage in a certain part of his heart or something.
One of the arteries, which is actually called the Widowmaker.
Yeah.
It's called, well, for a damn good reason. Yeah, well, mainly men. Well, I think heart attacks are mainly in men anyway. It's very rare for a woman to have a heart attack. It's usually stroke or something. Anyway, that's getting off track. But yeah, the Widowmaker, man, not a very good thing. So it's going to sound cliche, but all our thoughts and prayers are with Kevin Smith at the moment. Like, I fucking really hope he gets better, because he's doing a remake of Jay and Silent Bob. It's called Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Oh, and when he did the thing, I was just like, fine, whatever. I just want more Jay and Silent Bob. He was supposed to do Moose Jaws. Have you heard of that movie?
No.
It's Jaws with a moose, set in Canada.
I was going to say it's very Canadian.
Yeah, well, yeah, and apparently there's a town over in Canada called Moose Jaws. He's a huge fan of the town or something like that. It's only a little small town that reminds him of Amity, you know, from the Jaws movie. And he just wrote a fucking script after finding out about fucking moose, you know, and kill a moose and shit like that. So he wrote one, and then he asked the fans, "What do you think of adding Jay and Silent Bob into the movie?" And everyone's like, "Yeah!" And then, but now he can't get funding because nobody wants to fund a movie about a giant killer moose. But anyway, but before we get started, is there any particular subjects, topics, anything other than celebrity gossip that you wanted to talk about before we get started onto the articles?
No, let's jump into the articles. I've read a few of them. I won't say I've read them all.
Well, that's fine. I pulled these together over the last couple of days. The majority of them you can find on Southern Cross Resistance. I was about to say .com, the Facebook Southern Cross Resistance. We're working on the website at the moment. A friend of mine's developing it.
Nice.
Because I keep getting shut down on Facebook. My fucking shit gets banned all the time. YouTube, I've stopped demonetizing all of our videos on YouTube because they just pull it. They'll just pull it, and then everyone's like, "You're a liar! Go on YouTube and find them." Yeah, because I had to send in, copyright-free fucking shit. No, you can't use that. Here's the disclaimer why. Fucking copyright section C139 whatever means you can't take that video down.
We take down shit, yeah.
But the thing is, if they deem it, if it offends like the person who is going to put an ad onto your video. If that person gets offended by the content, then they can pull that content down. Well, that's why I don't demonetize, because if I don't demonetize, then they can't use that against me like they have in the past. And I'm still waiting on my 12 cents though. YouTube owes me 12 cents from all those videos that I've done and monetized that didn't get pulled down. So I'm waiting, YouTube. But anyway.
They only pay you after a certain amount?
Hey?
I thought they only paid you after a certain amount.
I think it's... I don't really know how it works, man, because I've never been paid by the cunts. They tell you how much your videos have estimated, and because I stopped but since I had stopped demonetizing the videos, it just went up to 12 cents and stopped. Yeah. So it's just like, okay, well, whatever, just send me a check. I'll be happy with it.
American, so it's like 20 cents.
Oh, that's 20. Yeah, what could I buy? A lollipop. I don't even know if I could buy a lollipop. Yeah, that's exactly right. Alright, just turn that up a little bit. Alright, so the first article we have is from Quartz. I'm not exactly sure about the fucking website, but I've double checked the everything that it says, and it's legit. So the article is legit. And it goes on to talk about Jordan Peterson. Have you heard about him?
Yes, I have.
An anti-Marxist pro-free speech YouTuber is gaining a following in China. Just look at how they worded that. And, you'll see this throughout the entire thing. Doesn't mention he's a professor and was a professor at Harvard University and is now in Canada. Oh, no, he's a YouTuber now. So that way,
I was like, who the fuck are they talking about?
Yeah, so it goes on to say, conservative commentators are on a rise prominence after Trump's election, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on to say how Jordan B. Peterson, a Canadian psychologist and author with a large YouTube following, has now gained notoriety in China. It goes on to say that there's a whole group in China, if I can try and find it, and it just sounds so fucking... Where is it? I can't, because I'm going to have to find the name because I can't actually... Here it is. They call it... there's a group coming up in China that they call themselves the baizuo. It's Baizuo. Baizuo. And it's a loaded term, and they go after what we would equivalent to social justice warriors. But what they call them the white left. The white left. Left wing or liberal. And it just goes, and other terms argue it means stupid. So, they're pretty much saying that the whole left-wing narrative is destroying Western civilizations and making the rule for barbarians and backwards cultures. This is what they say. This isn't some white supremacist, rah, rah, rah. This is some Chinese fella who's saying all this. The narrative is white left, destroying... I just read that. Blah, blah, blah. Nationalist populists in China also invented new radicalized terms such as... Oh, geez, I'm not even going to try that. Huangzhou? Okay, I'm going to...
I have no idea.
Have a crack at that one.
Nah.
Which means yellow left, or yellow-skinned white left, which is an insult in Chinese narratives. But they also go on to say how they are... this group which is opposing the main government of China at the time, which I don't fucking disagree with, because fucking communist cunts anyway. They're opposing, but they're also leaning heavily into, they've done better than what the white people in America have done, because they're technically ruling the world, rule the world at the moment. So there is a slight bit of racial tensions going on in there. But if you ask me, it just seems like what's happening in the West at the moment with all these professors like Jordan Peterson getting shouted down at campuses, Anybody who wears a red hat these days that has anything that says "great again" on it, suddenly he's a Nazi, bigot, fucking racist, homophobe. The funniest thing that I find with this whole, I can't even call it a debate because they're just too busy shouting at each other.
There's no debate at all.
No, but
yelling.
What I find funny is Milo Yiannopoulos gets shut down after fucking, and he gets called a white supremacist, even though he's a gay Jew married to a black guy. You know, and he's just
he's
like...
just a big fucking troll.
Yeah, that's all he is, man. And they're eating... But this is the thing, they're eating it up. What did he say? Oh, let's go march. Oh, you fucking idiots. You're proving his point.
Yeah, he's
you know?
actually just there to trigger the shit out of them.
Okay, give me your thoughts. I know you haven't read across the whole article, but just give us your thoughts on really the polarization of America at the moment. Because it doesn't seem like you can really say anything. Like if you say, oh, I'm a bit worried about immigration. Ah, racist. You know, oh, I'm a bit worried about something. You know, oh, racist. What's your thoughts on the polarization across the fucking board when it comes to, since the Trump election and Brexit?
Everything seems to be about racism. Like, that's it.
Like, that's the only problem in the world at the moment. Yeah,
the problem is racism.
Yeah.
Black people are oppressed. Blah, blah, blah. All that other sort of shit. Like... You say something about one black person, everyone loses their shit. Say it about a white guy, oh, it's not cool. It's fine.
I had a friend of mine. I'm not going to mention any names, but if they watch this podcast, and I'm sure they do, who knows? They posted something about fucking men, and it was this picture of a person's strength. A guy saying not all, and I guess he was about to say not all men. And then the bottom picture is like, no, not all men are like this, but you belong to the patriarchal hierarchy, I don't know, word vomit, you know, blah, blah, blah. And if you don't accept that, you're part of the problem. I just read that and I'm like, it really kept me up all night going, I should get on Facebook. No. I'm going to get there. I don't want to fucking wake up in the morning with 20 fucking comments and just cunts attacking me. I don't even know you. Who are you?
I do that,
you know
just sometimes just get a reaction out of it.
I do sometimes, but I only do that with the flat earthers because I just think those guys are fucking stupid. But anyway,
one of the dumbest theories in the world.
But that's the whole thing, man. Like, people aren't willing to question any ideology they have anymore. You know what I mean? They're under oppression that they're under the impression that they're being in you know, let go. Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Put against, they're, you know, being victimized, right?
Yeah.
So they take on this victimized fucking mentality when, if you ask them what are you being victimized against, they always name things that happened 30, 40, 50 years ago, and it's just like, well, things have gotten better since then,
it's
you know.
in the past that has to affect now.
And
does my head in.
We had a whole podcast about this last time, episode 13, and we talked about identity politics and, you know, the whole ideology of, you know, well, and this is what I hate, man, when people start off a conversation, well, as a woman, or as a gay guy, or as a this, or as a black guy, it's just like, no, just shut the fuck up and tell me what you're thinking. I really don't care. This as a crap, you know what I mean? Just tell me what your thoughts are, and then go from there. Give me your argument, you know, reason, evidence, you know, and maybe a bit of philosophy thrown in. I'll handle that. But don't just come over this, I'm a victim. You're not a fucking victim in the 21st century. I'm sorry to say. You have all the access that everybody else does. The only fucking problem is you're living under this fucking mantle of I'm a victim. So everyone's got to look after me. Well, I'm sorry, sweetheart. Not everyone's going to look after you. You know, like, kick the bird out of the nest. And I don't mean bird as in woman, and I'm not being sexist before you write in the comments. Hey?
Or actual literal bird.
I'm talking about mama birds. Throw the fucker out of the fucking nest at a certain age. Maybe we should start adopting the similar thing. But again, sorry, I'm getting off track. Look at it like this, man. Like, fucking, they say that they're being victimized, that, you know, oh, as a black guy, this, you know, as a woman, that. Well, okay, it's simple. Look at the ideology against it. Okay, if you're a black guy, that's one thing. What if you're a black woman? Are you more of a victim? What about a black woman in a wheelchair? Is that a more of a victim than than a woman or a black man? What about what an ugly black woman in a wheelchair?
Or like a burn victim in a wheelchair or something like
What about a lesbian black woman in a wheelchair? You know what I mean? At what point does your identity politics just fall away and the only real... I'm going to move this around here. And the only real minority that matters is the individual himself, because once you scrape away all the bullshit identity politics that surround someone, then all they've got left are what they believe and who, you know, like, I could just say you're a white guy. It's just like, well, dude, I'm also like cars, you know. There's more to your personality than just a white dude, you know what I mean? And we've been told for years, oh, you've got to look past someone's skin, look past your skin, unless they're, unless they're white. If they're white, then they're part of the fucking patriarchy. Yeah. So they need to be, wiped out. And it's just like, if people don't understand, by spreading this stuff, you're as much as a problem as those fucking Charlottesville crazy motherfuckers that storming down the streets, then you're never going to understand. Yeah. And anyway, sorry, keep going about what you think of where we are with Milos and Yiannopoulos and Jordan Peterson. What, getting back to what your ideas on that were.
Well, Milo, I just think I really love him because of the fact that he's a troll and he just specifically just triggers people and they lose their shit and they never come back with like factual evidence.
Well, I like Ben Shapiro is very similar in that respect.
Ben's another guy I actually really love. Yeah. I don't agree with everything he says.
But you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I don't have to agree with everything he says, but the majority of stuff I do agree with. Because the guy brings facts in, no matter what he does. It's just facts after facts.
Well, yeah, exactly. And like, again, there are a few things that I didn't agree with him, but I listened to his arguments. And I'm like, oh, okay, I can see where you're coming from there. Yeah, and makes sense. A lot of trouble with people is they're not coming together under that sort of idea anymore. We're too fractionalized. You're in your group, I'm in my group, and neither of the two shall meet. But that's not how this shit should work.
It's just all like little tribes here and there, and they all want their own little things.
Either it's sex, race, politics. When I first joined Freemasonry, we weren't allowed to talk about those three things. And I remember thinking at the time, that's kind of bullshit. Why shouldn't we talk about this stuff? I mean, the Boston Tea Party, that was pretty political. That was all Freemasons throwing that shit, overboard. It seems to, and they did all that at the lodge meeting, you know what I mean? They didn't care about the no political rule back then, is what I'm saying. And I was wondering why that all changed. I see it now. I see why they didn't want to sort of cover it. Yeah. But I think by not talking about it, you've sort of, leave that alone. We'll just push that over here.
It's like no one needs to say that.
And it's like, have you ever read, there was an old kid story when I was a kid. It was about a kid who found a pet dragon. No. You never read, I can't even think of the name of the book. Jordan Peterson actually mentioned it in his psychological lessons, and I was like, I remember that. But what happens in the book, this kid finds a dragon, and the parents are like, it only puffs a little bit of smoke here and there, and, it's the size of a little bunny rabbit. It's fine. Leave it. But what happens is they ignore it. The dragon grows. Anyway, the emphasis of the story is they ignored the dragon, gets to the size of the dog, starts breathing a little fire, sets fire to the couch. Woo, shit, okay, but they still ignore it. They put out the fire, go on with their day. That's almost like what's happening here. We've ignored this shit for so long that the fucking dragon's tail is going from the back end of the door and its head is at the front, you know what I mean? And it's like, we've got a bit of a problem now. Yes, we do. It's because you've ignored the dragon and you let it fucking grow. Now, that's exactly what's happening now.
And it's fucking destroying everything.
I find myself, like, last year when Trump was getting elected, when he first announced, I was like, okay. Like everyone, I was like, come on, let's see what you do here. And then, like, I found the whole RNC debates fucking hilarious because they kept talking about their hands and shit like that, and it's just like, there's a bit more important things going on. Where's Ron Paul? Fucking hell, you know Ron Paul, don't you? Yeah. Watching the RNC debates, like, that's what got me into American politics, was just watching Ron Paul. I knew he'd never win, but it's just like, I just love to hear him, and just to hear fucking, I can hear that. You bastard. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, folks. My dad just turned on some music or put a movie on or something like that. But I just remember watching those debates, and Ron Paul had a point. Like, he was talking about, hey man, we just went to Iraq. Can't we just go? If we just walked in there, can't we just walk out? And just
Take
little
that shit
things
back.
like that. Like, you know, oh, we keep fucking having giant bubbles of, you know, economic bubbles keep bursting every, like, 40 or 20 to 40 years. What's the correlation between that? Oh, the Federal Reserve. Can we do something about them? Oh, shh! You know, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist that's always on Alex Jones' show. Rah, rah, rah. Even though he made some good fucking sense and he was fucking up there with the rest of the Republicans making the debates. That's what got me into the RNC. But 2016 was so fucking weird, man. Right down from what happened with the Democrats, you know, fucking with Bernie getting the shaft.
Yeah, getting shafted there.
Like, that was all set up. Like,
Actually,
you know,
like Bernie too. He had pretty good ideas.
I don't like. Yeah.
like-
Okay. I'll give you the
It's a
benefit
whole
of
nother
the
debate.
doubt. Name a few.
Oh shit, I gotta remember what they were. Like at the time when I read watch it, I was like, oh, he's got some good points, but not everything.
It's because he looks like fucking Colonel Sanders. Seriously, give him the mustache and that little thing.
Mustache, yeah, you could probably.
He'll be Bernie
He would be
Sanders.
better than
Oh, but it is.
Hillary
Anyway.
Clinton. I'll say that.
Fucking hell. I've got a dog in there that would be better running than
Anyone's better
fucking.
than Hillary.
I think that's why Trump won. Seriously.
Yeah.
And then you find out that fucking Hillary wanted Trump to run against her. Because she thought that fucking, oh, we'll beat this
It'll
fucking
be an
guy.
easy fucking win. No
It's
way.
just arrogance, man. The arrogance from the DNC. Like, she stole that from the DNC. And I'm like, oh, that, the fucking Democratic Party's fucked. I look over at fucking the Republican Party. And they're all talking about the size of their hands. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? And then I turn to the Libertarian Party, the one party that I've always said, hey, I'm a Libertarian, man, 100%. And they've got naked people streaking across the stage. And fucking, what's his name? Gary Johnson asking what Aleppo is over in Syria. Going, Aleppo? The hell is Aleppo? You know, and it's just like, you want to be a president, you've got to know what's happening in Syria. You know, okay, but in his defense, I'll have to say, I probably would have fucking gone, Aleppo? What the fuck is Aleppo? Because you would have been having to follow every day, and it would have been a little hard running as president and watching the news 24/7 and finding out what's going on. So I'll give him a bit of break for that. But the whole Libertarian Party had no fucking chance of getting there. Again, the DNC stole the fucking thing from Bernie, from Bernie Sanders. Agree with him, hate him, whatever. They stole the election from him.
Yeah.
Had he have run, he might have won.
I reckon it would have been
Like,
very close.
over Trump. Do you reckon he would have won over Trump?
I reckon it would have been just. Oh no, he probably would have just lost. I reckon over Trump.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I think he probably would have won. You know, like, all right, when, and then look, they started going on how the DNC was hacked by fucking, right, by the Ruskies, they say. But I've got a fucking article here, if I fucking find it, the Kim.com one, who says that I've read the article, so I probably don't need to pull it out. But he even goes on to say that they've done the research. The stuff that was leaked from the DNC did not come from a hacked server, but came from somebody who plugged a USB service into the fucking. Is that it?
Thing. Yeah.
All right. You want to give that a quick read? I'm just going to pour myself a drink. Just read the headline and a couple of lines.
Kim.com. Let me assure you, the DNC hack wasn't even a hack. Kim.com has once again chimed in on the DNC hack, following a Sunday morning tweet from President Trump clarifying his previous comments on Russian meddling in the 2016 election. I never said Russia did meddle in the election. I said it may be Russia, or China, or another country or group. It may be a 400-pound genius sitting in a bed and playing with his computer. The Russian hoax was that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. It never did.
Mm-hmm. See, that's the thing. And then you have cases like Seth Rich, who was murdered at his home, and the police said it was a fucking break and robbery, even though nothing was stolen.
It's a load of shit.
Yeah, and then WikiLeaks come out and say that they're going to put I think it was a $20,000 reward on whoever came up with evidence to prove Seth Rich's killer.
Yeah.
And then they're like, so you're saying that he's the guy that gave you the leaks from the DNC? Oh, I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that this guy was murdered. We've got the money. Well, dude, you're not doing that for everyone. Ooh, what happened there? That was weird. My fucking mic just went fucking from 0 to 100. Okay, I'm going to back off a little bit. Maybe that was going so loud. But that's the thing. Like, they keep saying Russians. When, if you look at it, you know, Michael Moore attended a Russian fucking rally.
No, I didn't know that.
He attended an anti-Trump rally that was organized by Russian bots. Out front of the Russian Tower. What the fuck's going on here? My fucking thing's going in and out. Oh well, looks like I'm gonna fix more in post. Losing my screen.
Everything's going to sleep.
Yeah. I'll take those off. Fuck it. If the audio drops out, then I'm just gonna bet 3-4 more hours of me editing, I guess. But see, that's the thing. Like fucking, they hacked the fucking. They say, oh, the Russians hacked it. The Russians were against everyone in that election. You know, they were against Trump. They were against Hillary. They were against fucking Jules Stein. One of the other candidates, and what's his name? The libertarian guy, Gary Johnson. We just talked about before. I remember those four because I like hearing their names every single day during the election. So, they had anti-Trump protests against all four of the anti-protests against all four of those people, but it was the Russians who meddled in getting Trump elected.
Yeah.
I mean, they spent $40,000 on Facebook ads. Yeah, that's hacking. Yeah, that's meddling with the election. Some idiot's going to read something on Facebook and go, well, you know what? I was going to vote for Hillary, but Jesus Christ, my fucking Facebook's saying that, you know, she's an alien lizard. Can't do it now.
She's slaying children for their blood and stuff like that.
Hey, man, like, I don't know about any of that, but fucking Bill Clinton was caught on Jerry Epstein's airplane flying to that fucking island. He's that guy that got done for fucking all those little kids and shit on his island. Well, fucking Bill Clinton went on plenty of fucking things with that. Not to fucking knock any witches out there, but fucking Hillary was part of some coven over in the fucking thing, which turned out to be true. One of her bodyguards came out and fucking admitted to it. Then another guy who run her campaign. It was really fun. I can't remember this fella's name. He had lung cancer. I'll throw the name on the bottom of the screen because I'll remember it while I'm editing and just put it down there like that. But he came out and said that Hillary had to do a speech, and in the speech she had to cry.
Yeah.
What was his name? Trevor something. I can't think of his fucking name. It's probably not Trevor. It's probably something. But he's like, listen, Hillary, you got to cry during this speech. And she's like, well, I can't cry. You know, it's just you can't cry on command. And he's like, okay. So he taught us some acting techniques to do it. And he's like, okay, well. Think of your puppy. When you're a little girl, you know, you had a little puppy. Think of when your puppy died. I didn't have a puppy. And I remember watching this interview. I'm like, who doesn't have a puppy when they're a kid?
About cats.
Anyway, okay, fine.
Cats are terrible, by the way.
Yeah, well, given benefit of the doubt, like, who doesn't have a puppy? Anyway, there was whatever. And she's like, well, I didn't have a puppy. Well, okay, grandma then. Grandma. Think of grandma. Well, I didn't like her. You know, and so she did it. And this guy's like, well, like, I fucking can't help this one.
Yeah.
You know, she needs to get out there. She needs to show, what was it over? Some sort of gang violence or something like that.
Something insane over there.
Yeah. And she had to come out on TV and cry. Yeah. And the thing is, like, fucking, she backflipped against everything that she ever stood for during that campaign. I mean, she was pro-life. You know, right up until the campaign, and then suddenly she's fucking pro-choice. I was about to say pro-death, but pro-choice.
The abortions and shit like that.
Yeah. And all of her positions just suddenly fucking flipped. She started taking fucking thousands and thousands of dollars to go speak to Goldman Sachs. Like, fucking... and as an attorney, her very first fucking case was Kathleen Shelton. Have you heard of her?
The last name rings a bell, yeah.
13-year-old girl riding home from school, got abducted by two grown men.
That's the one that happened
back in
a long time ago.
Yeah, it was years ago, back in the 70s, 80s, something like that. She's an old woman now, and poor bugger. They kidnapped this girl, raped her so bad. I probably shouldn't really even get into it because, you know, if you want to watch it, I've even done a mini doco. You know, I heard about this case, you know, and I was doing this thing, 10 reasons Hillary shouldn't be president. then I heard about this case and I was just like, just one. Here's one, you know? And I ended up scrapping the rest of the fucking 9 reasons and just making a 10-minute little short documentary all about Kathy Shelton. And everyone says like, oh, but, you know, she was a young lawyer, got to sign the job. I've proven the doco that no, she wanted that job because it was a high case. It was a high, you know, profile case. And she was on the side of getting the rapists off. And she did.
Oh, was she?
And she did. She took the evidence, sent it to a lab who destroyed it, who cut too much fucking of the DNA off the fucking underwear that she was wearing to prove that fucking... And they ended up, like, when you're testing something, you're supposed to cut off a sample, test that sample. They cut off a big chunk, and there was nothing left to test. When they sent the evidence back, there was nothing left to test. So the guy... That was one of the reasons, that plus a few other things. She called a 13-year-old girl who was raped on the stand that she wanted it, you know, like fucking that she was teasing all the older boys. Some of the most grotesque... I read the whole fucking transcripts from the courts and shit. I'm like, this is disgusting. This person wants to be president. This person should be fucking in jail. You know, like, I understand there is
Trump
a need
for... do that, by the way.
Well, yeah, but that's all that's going to happen is that they're going to say it's a political witch hunt. You know, then they're going to get her off, and a few of her underlings will go to jail, and nothing will happen to her. Or worst case scenario, she'll fuck off to a fucking another island somewhere and just be like, no, exposition, or was it exposition, where you can take someone to another place, like another country, to be trialed. I can't think of it. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Extradited or whatever?
Extradited, that's it.
Yeah.
So she can't be extradited, so fucking they just left it. But I don't know. I don't really want to talk about fucking Hillary Clinton. I spent a whole year talking about that fucking bitch, man. I sort of wanted to fucking, and I don't know how I do it, but I somehow managed to get back to it. And I'd like to fucking emphasize that I'm not a fucking Trump supporter, but if you go back and watch the episodes that were filmed during the fucking presidential election, I would have sounded like a Trump supporter. Because I wanted him to win. Because I didn't want this other cunt to win. Because she's up there saying that she's going to threaten Russia. She's threatening fucking Israel. She's threatening Iran. And it's just like, you're an idiot. You know, you don't know what you're doing. Back the fuck off.
Just trying to start fights with everyone.
This is George Bush 2.0. You know what I mean? Fucking...
That was fucking terrible.
Oh, yeah. But, anyway.
Start a fight with these people.
Oh, somebody attacked us. It'd be like fucking...
Let's invade your country.
It'd be like if someone walked over and punched me in the back of the head. I'm like, Dave! And you're like, we were friends. And I was like, someone punched me. You were there. You know, sorry. You know?
You're the first target. Yeah.
This is what I find funny about fake news. I got called up the other day on the radio, and they said, why didn't you read that article? I'm not going to say... I'm at a couple of different stations, so I'm not going to say which specific station. So I don't get into trouble. And they're like, why didn't you read that article? I was like, because it's fake news. I'm not reading that bullshit saying that, you know, fucking Assad, you know, not Bashar al-Assad, the president of Syria, is gassing people. There's no evidence to prove that. The only evidence to prove that there was gas chambers there that were blown inwards, not outwards, meaning they didn't explode, they were imploded, meaning something... Oh, shouldn't do that. Something hit the fucking things that were buried underground that made the gas explode. No evidence that he did it. I'm not fucking riling people up over something that's bullshit. And he's like, oh, and this is my boss, he's like, fake news, talking about fucking fake news. Like, you know, he's like, give me one good example of fake news. I was like, weapons of mass destruction. 1 million fucking Iraqis dead.
Yeah.
And he just went quiet. And he's just like, well, that wasn't fake news. What was it then if it wasn't fake news? He's like, well, fake news is something that people say that they think is true that's not. I was like, no, fake news is propaganda. Yeah. It's a fake article in order to push an agenda. That's what news, you know.
People to believe something
that's exact. It's propaganda, you know. Like I go back and watch. I did a whole documentary about propaganda. I've done 2 docos my entire life. They only go, if you watch both of them back to back, you can get through them in half an hour.
Yeah.
But one of them is about propaganda, and some of the The reason women didn't smoke cigarettes in the 30s because it was looked down upon. The reason they smoke cigarettes now is because of propaganda. Because they realised the smoke companies weren't selling cigarettes to enough fucking people. So what do? They started calling them torches for freedom. They included them in the suffrage movement, the right to vote. They stuck them right up front of the parades with the fucking cigarettes and called them torches of freedom. These are torches of freedom.
I remember they had them for like with medical reasons and stuff too.
That was another thing. They were hiring doctors to give them to opera singers and stuff like that because it apparently opened the larynx more and help you sing a little. Now talking about it, I don't want a cigarette. You don't mind if I have a smoke, do you? All right.
Your house, your rules.
I know, but I like to be a courteous guest. But okay. Let's get back to fucking the article we was first talking about. Now, these Chinese lads that are being fucking demonetized, it just seems to me they're just seeing the same bullshit liberal crap that we're seeing now. And, I mean, worst case scenario, we get called right wing.
Yeah,
like, I
don't give a shit.
Yeah, whatever, man. Like, I'm a libertarian. I have right wing perspective and left wing.
More that way than anything.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, like, fucking, you're not pro-war. Well, I don't know. I shouldn't say that because I know your stance on it. But as far as I know, you're not pro-war. You know what I mean?
No, don't go start shit with people when you don't need to.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like, I've got a rule, like, don't fuck with a stranger. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it sounds like, something you tell a kid. But it's something that everybody should know, especially if they're going down to the pubs and shit.
Yeah.
Don't fuck with a stranger. Even down in the supermarket, you bump into someone and you have that, get the fuck out of my way moment. Or, you don't know what that fucking dude's been through that day. You know what I mean? You don't know who he is because he could be a fucking sociopath and who's just carrying a fucking knife. As a friend of mine said, she's like, I hate Mildura. I was like, why? I was like, you live in Melbourne. It's too dangerous here. I was like, but you live in Melbourne. Yeah, You'd think it'd be fucking worse down there. She's like, are you kidding me? Everyone's afraid someone has a gun or a knife. No one's willing to say shit. So if you bump into someone, I'm sorry. You want a beer? You want a beer? Down here, they know nobody's carrying, so they're just going to start punching, punching on. And that's a fear. Nobody has the fear of the stranger anymore. You get my point? Like, someone could just fucking be having a shitful day and maybe overreact at you, you know what I mean? And maybe lay punches in. Maybe their mother just died. Maybe their husband just died. Whatever. And they're just not in the fucking mood to deal with some fucking crazy cunt shit. Or maybe they're just a psychopath that wants to slit someone's throat.
Or most normal people, if you bump into them, you just be like, oh yeah, sorry about that. Whatever, move on.
Yeah.
That's it.
But that's not everyone. You know what I mean?
Like, you find the weird people every now and then just like, oh shit, I shouldn't have fucking done that.
Yeah. Well, I remember fucking, I had a group of friends that I, were hanging out with. I was going back about 4 or 5 years. And I stopped hanging around them only because I kept finding myself in fights. You know what I mean? Next thing I know, like, fucking someone's punching on and fucking some cunts grab me by the shirt and I'm like, what?
In their own group or with other people?
With other people, within their own group. Oh shit, I left my lighter out there. Oh fuck. Alright, hang on. Hey Dad, bring me a lighter! Hang on, I better go grab it. Do you want to, hang on, just... Yeah, have a look at that one. Give it a read. Yeah, give it a read for the people. And sorry, folks, I'll be back in a second. Dirty ass smoker has to cure his habit.
Yeah, he's fixed, man.
I'll be back in a second.
Everyone can see my sweaty ass. Alright. Next little thing you got here. Comedian sued for joking about her husband. The comedian is being sued by her estranged husband for allegedly defaming in her show. Which is beyond fucking stupid.
Sorry.
Louis Beaumont, I would assume?
Yep.
Stage name, I would assume that's Ray's. Arias. Her show, Hard Mode, was advertised as a provocative show that explores censorship and surveillance, in which she imagines the BBC has come under the control of the Chinese government. However, its primary theme involves ideas of personal heartbreak. I am being sued for my last Edinburgh show, currently ADFL Fringe. Please share. I hate people when I please like that. It's fucking retarded. Donate. Tell people any kind of support. Very appreciated. Please stand with me in the name of free speech.
See, what's happening in the article, her husband's, or ex-husband, if I remember the article correctly, is suing her because of a joke that she made during the fucking, during her special, right? This is one of those things, it goes back to the idea of Milo Yiannopoulos. You can't shut down the jester. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, sorry, keep going.
No, you're right, man.
No.
I was going to say, the headline makes it seem like they're still married.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because it probably just says comedian sued for joking about her husband.
Well, maybe
So
she's still going. I think she's still going through the divorce. You know, and she brings up the divorce in her show and stuff like that. I don't know how many fucking comedians have talked about their divorce. It's been countless. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm saying. Like, political correctness and fucking people getting offended has just gotten too far.
Well,
you know,
in his defense, depends what she said about him, because they're not together anymore. So,
but still, man, he married a comedian.
If they were married at the time, I'd understand him having to take a bit of crap from her. That's completely understandable.
Yeah. If I married a girl who fucking shot arrows for a living and I pissed her off, and then you found with me with a fucking arrow in my ass,
yeah.
Well, fuck me, man. Like, I'd take on some personal responsibility. You married a comedian, and then you divorced her ass, or you tried to divorce her ass. You don't think she's gonna try and sue you?
We should talk about it, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just fucking ridiculous, and it goes back to what I was saying, what I was getting at before. You need people. You can't fucking start censoring jokes. Like, Owen Benjamin. You ever heard of that guy? Stand-up comedian?
Owen Benjamin. Is he English guy?
No, he's an American fella.
Oh, no.
Well, he recently got fired from his management because he did a joke on stage.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I can see how the joke is racy, and he's like, I think we should bring back slavery. And everyone's like, whoa, what? I don't mean to rip on his joke or whatever like that, because I'm probably going to do a bad job at doing it. But he's like, no, not just for black people. I think it just should be for everybody who can't outrun the net. I just thought that was fucking hilarious. And like his entire management is like, no, you can't.
Talk about that shit.
You can't talk about that shit. So they
I assume he's a white fella.
Yeah. And just recently, he's just like, you know what? If I can't talk about that thing, I'm talking about everything now.
Yeah.
Because if you can't talk about one thing, it goes back to that analogy of the dragon, man. If you can't talk about it, then whatever problems lie within it, it's just going to fucking fester and grow. And if you ignore it long enough, you've got a dragon in your house.
I find it really weird when people go to like comedian shows and they get offended by something. It's like, you know what you're going into.
That's exactly right.
What do you expect's going to happen?
Well, you know, like, the thing is, you can't, like, look at Richard Pryor. You know, Richard Pryor is one of the most offensive motherfuckers in the world, was, I should say. And one of the funniest jokes he ever done was about himself. Because he was doing, what was he doing? Crack cocaine or something like that. And somehow he set himself on fire. And it was all over the news that, you know, and he had burns along the side of his face and all that sort of stuff. But he went back on stage. And the fucking funniest joke is like, you know, I heard all your jokes, right? I heard them all. You know, and then he grabs a matchbox out and strikes like, so, what's this? Richard Pryor. And throws it down. And he's like, so I heard them all, you know, type of thing. But that's the thing about what we need in this, what's happening with our society at the moment. We need someone to come in and say, no, you're all full of crap. You know, it's like Franco one night. We're all at a mate's place and we're all having some drinks. And my brother said to one of his mates something about, just said a your mama's joke. I can't even remember what the joke was. But this other guy got so fucking offended that he's just like, fuck it, you know, I'm going to smash you, rah, rah, rah. Oh, you're lucky I'm not near the kitchen, man. I'll grab a fuck, you know, he's just going off his head at my brother. I'm telling him to shut the fuck up because I'm getting annoyed because he's yelling at my brother at this point. Yeah. And then Franco just turned around and he's like, all right, all of you just knock it the fuck off. And he's like, you shut the fuck up, and Vern, your mum. Like that. Yeah. And it ended it, you know what I mean? Another time, two of my friends were fighting, and they were fucking really getting into it. What had happened was fucking, one of them was dating this girl, and something happened, you know, just talk behind scenes type of thing, which caused problem between me mate and his girlfriend. Yeah. Anyway, he went to confront Ollie. And they were yelling at each other, and I'm just sitting back with a beer going, I'm fucking involved, you know, and I'm just sitting there listening, and they're yelling at each other, and fucking Trev... I'm putting this on a shirt one day. I fucking swear. It's the best comeback I've ever heard. Trev's like, you know what? It's fucking sluts like you that cause problems. No, sorry. It's bitches like you that cause problems. And he's like, yeah, well, it's fucking sluts like you that cause diseases. I fucking lost my shit. I fell over. Ollie, who said the joke, just started. And Trev, who was just sitting there like... even he couldn't hold it anymore. That's what I'm saying. We need more to break all this fucking tension that's going on between black people, white people, gay people, straight women, men, whatever. You just need throw in the jester.
Yeah.
And the jester can go in, you're fucking stupid, and here's fucking why,
Yeah, you need to have a laugh at things, otherwise...
The second... This is what I'm worried about with this fucking... If this guy is successful. It then sets a precedent that other people can now sue. Because there's another fucking comedian over in Canada. I can't even remember what exactly happened, but he ended up getting sued over a joke that he did. That's fucking scary. Because now we can't talk about a certain thing without getting in fucking trouble. And again, analogy of the dragon. You leave that fucker alone, it's going to fester. And, maybe a better analogy for that would be cancer. You leave it alone, you ignore it for too long, and then eventually it's going to grow so much that you can't treat it.
Yeah, and it will kill that thing as well. So
and it will kill.
Don't have comedy anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Is that what we really want?
You can't say anything because everybody's going to be like, "Ooh, we can't."
Hey, I'm offended by that. Steve Hughes. I've actually fucking reached out to Steve Hughes. He's a stand-up comedian. I'm trying to get him on the podcast, but fucking his people kept telling me he's on holiday. Yeah. I don't know. I'm talking to a lot of people, you talk to my people to talk to these people. I've got a bunch of interviews coming up, but I've had a majority of them, with the exception for the Australians, I've had to go through their people. Anyway, that's just a little behind the scenes fucking shit. But he makes a joke about being offended.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, what if I'm offended about you being offended? What then? What happens if the fact that you're offended offends me? Do you stop being offended? Because you're now offending somebody. We're at that sort of ridiculous moment in history where it's like you can't say anything unless someone wants to fucking take you to court. Okay, now it's a fucking husband. Next it's going to be just some fucking chick at a fucking comedy store who's like, I don't like what this guy has to say, and then boom. I just don't like the precedent that this fucking sets. Anyway, final thoughts before we move on.
The guy's a dickhead. That's about it.
Fair enough.
You can't just date a comedian and not expect to have a joke.
Yeah, Louise Ray, I think her name is. And if you want to support her, she's got a fucking hashtag free speech, and it is free speech.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm being sued for my last Edinburgh show.
Something like 2 minutes or something was a joke for?
Yeah, not even that. 2 minutes. It says right here. I referred to my husband a couple of times, perhaps 2 minutes worth of references in a 50-minute show. And what's going to happen is you're going to eventually not be able to talk about anything, and no ideas are going to be spread. Ideas can't be spread, then fucking, if you ask me, humanity fucking dies on the vine. If we're not allowed to express our fucking selves, then what's the fucking point of moving, That
motherfucker is asking like $53,000 in damages.
You think it might just be about money?
Well, it looks like it. It's a fucking lot of money. Just for 2 minutes.
Do you ever watch news radio?
I rarely watch anything anymore.
It's an old show. It was back in the 90s and shit.
Oh, is it?
Joe Rogan's on it. He played a conspiracy theorist, technician. Andy Dick's on the show. It's set in a news radio station.
I think so,
Yeah. The main guy for that, Dave Foley, when he was working on the show, because he was the lead of the show, he was getting X amount of dollars per episode.
Yeah.
His wife filed for divorce, and then he stopped on the show. The show came to an end. But because she was earning X amount of dollars whilst he was on the show, he wasn't no longer earning that amount because the show had finished.
Yeah.
But when they separated, he still had to pay her that same amount that he was earning when he was on the show. You know what I mean? Even though he wasn't earning that number anymore.
Yeah.
Because that was the lifestyle she accustomed to. And you know what the idiot done? He went out and got remarried. Now he has to pay 2 sets of fucking alimony. You saw him on Joe Rogan. Just chubby old man, like, you know, just broken. I'm like, poor Dave Foley. You know, what the fuck happened to you, man?
Poor motherfucker.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. This is from the Herald Sun. University disgrace. The silence of Peter Ridd. James Cook University tried to gag Professor Peter Ridd. Again, they're just going after these professors.
Yeah, shitting on anyone has no idea.
Yeah. For questioning global warming alarmists and others in the academy. It has even trawled through his emails to look for dirt. Oh, sorry, they've even gone through his emails to look for dirt. Now, what happens is he came out and said, based on the models that you guys have got, I don't see how, you know, and he's got everything he's got peer reviewed. I don't think what you say when it comes to climate change is true, and I think you're lying to people in order to get fucking because it's like $50 billion, well, not billion, $1 million that they want to fix the reef alone, because they say the reef is dead, and he's come out and said, well, no, the reef is. There's a lot. I'd like to get right into this article as much as I can, but there's a lot of fucking technical stuff that I really don't understand. All I really understand is this professor's come out against global warming, and they've shut him down.
I wouldn't say global warming. I'd say climate change.
Okay,
I would say.
Yeah.
Because global warming, first, the place is just heating up. That's not too cool.
It was global cooling back in the 70s, and it was global warming. Now it's just climate change. It's like, well, you don't believe that climate changes? Well, yeah, man, it's called fucking seasons. And yeah, I agree.
It happens once every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, well, yeah, it happens once.
Months,
yeah, 4 times every year. But anyway, the article goes like that's just a brief rush down on what happened with the university, and he comes out to say how the Great Barrier Reef isn't decaying in the way that their measurements say it is. And yeah, they fired him for it, or they put him on leave. And this is James Cook University. Now, I've reached out to the professor. Hopefully, in the next month or so, he'll be on the show via Skype and stuff. So we'll be able to break it down a bit further than that. But this is what I was saying. I guess this is the whole theme of the show. It's about shutting down people who you don't agree with, you know, like, and that's the only reason they're shutting down this professor is because, you know, he's proving something that goes against what they consider fucking. Sorry, you're having a bit of a read of that.
Oh, it's alright.
I was trying to keep the show going while you were reading it, but I didn't want to pause the show. But he had to start a GoFundMe. This is how I eventually found out about the fella. To raise somewhere in the vicinity of $100,000 in order for his legal fees.
Yeah.
I invited him on the show. He was willing to come on, and then because of legal reasons, he had to drop out. Now, I don't know if I should really be saying that because that's more of a behind-the-scenes thing. So I probably just fucked any chance to actually, get the fella on the show now.
Yeah.
But it just seems to me that we're attacking all these people who go against the grain. Instead of going, okay, let's be open-minded, let's hear what they have to say, and let's have a look at the evidence.
It's not really against the grain; it's more against some group's opinion.
Well, but that also goes into the UN's climate change deal, fucking shutting down emissions. Even though we could shut down every fucking coal-burning plant that we have in Australia, and it doesn't mean shit because China's like, no.
Yeah, China's just pumping that shit fucking flat out.
And the thing is, we have these things on top of ours, so when you see the steam coming up, that's all it is. It's just fucking the cold air it's the warm air hitting the cold air, forming steam.
Yeah.
That's all you see out of it. It's when black billowing smoke comes pouring out. That's what you have to worry about. That's the fog that's all over China.
I've been to China, and it literally just looks like that everywhere.
When did you go to China?
I'd been about 5-6 years ago. Yeah.
So you'd be a bit more fucking tuned into it than I am. What's the emissions like over there? Like compared to even like one of the cities in Australia?
It's fucking disgusting, insane.
Really?
When I first went there, I thought, it's just been like heavy rainfall or something. Like
fog
and shit. It's just smog. That's all it was.
Fucking hell.
You'd go home at the end of the day and just wipe your face, and it would just be black.
Do you think that's one of the main reasons they get around in the masks? Because
They don't do that as much in China.
Oh, is that just
It's
Japan?
more Japan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Getting two cultures completely.
Even in going
mixed up.
to where I think it was in Beijing we were, or Shanghai, one of the other ones.
Well, was this for the Olympics or something?
No, we went over there for a cousin's wedding.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
I got married to an Asian Sheila over there.
Yeah.
And went there, and we were there for, me and my cousin were there a few days just by ourselves, and we just went exploring. Everywhere you go, it's just, like, most of the streets and stuff are fairly clean, but just the air itself and every water, like stream and stuff, is just full of shit.
Well,
the water was, like, black when you looked at it.
So it's black water, like sewage water.
Or it's just so filthy from all the rubbish and all the shit they throw in there.
Yeah.
Like even when you look at the ocean line, it was just black.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So no people swimming at the beaches then?
No.
Oh, fuck it all. See, that's, I look at that sort of thing and people are like, oh, evil capitalism. I'm like, the worst countries in the world isn't capitalist. The best countries in the world have capitalism going. The ones that don't, China, Venezuela, fucking all these other countries that don't actually have actually adopted more of a communist, socialist fucking bend, they're all fucked.
Yeah.
And they're all, like you just said, they're either highly polluted, or if you look at Venezuela that fully went, full communism back in the day, it was about 2 years ago, they ran out of animals at the zoo. Because the fucking cunts broke in and ate them. Now there's no pets. You won't see a stray dog walking down the street because they've eaten it. They started eating their pet. They ran out of fuel. They ran out of fuel, ran out of food. But the big fucking government fucking bodies and shit, they were fine.
Yeah.
There were protests that lasted weeks and weeks and weeks, and the only reason they finished was because people got hungry.
Yeah.
And couldn't fucking do it anymore. And they figured out a way around people starving to death, though. Stop reporting it. Seriously, that's how they stopped fucking... They were realising that their starvation rate was going through the roof, so they told doctors just to stop reporting that if they die, just say, oh, they died of natural causes.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of natural to die if you don't eat. That's quite natural,
it's
you know what I mean?
To do that, yeah.
So is strapping yourself to the back of a truck that's moving in the down the road 80 miles an hour. You'll die pretty naturally that way.
Yeah.
But it just makes me so fucking angry. Anyway, again, this is the whole problem with the podcast. We started on an article, and then we ended up over here, and it's just like, I want to get back to here. But anyway, so hopefully we get the professor on in the next couple of weeks, and he'll be able to break this down a lot more than I can. But one thing about the whole global warming thing, what I don't understand, and I hope the professor can... Maybe he just doesn't agree with what the science they're using. Maybe he does believe in climate change, but he just doesn't agree with the models that they've got. I don't know. We'll find out when he's on the show. But one thing that always confused me was the polar ice caps on Mars were melting. What caused that? You can't really blame the cars and the and the emissions unless you want to believe the conspiracy theorists about Mars colonizing missions since the 1970s or whatever bullshit fucking out there. But how did that happen? The only explanation I can find is that the sun gets hotter, and that's what controls climate. The sun grows hotter, controls the climate on the planet, and the cars and emissions and stuff like that have a minute fucking thing. But again, I'm no expert, and I'm going to get fucking torn apart in the fucking comments below.
Bring it, everyone. Fucking bring it.
Well, some guy was like, saying like, gave me a whole diatribe about heavy gases and shit like that, and I was like, oh, maybe I did get that wrong. Like, and anyway. But I was just reading...
Well, that one makes sense, heavy gases and stuff. So
Well, I think he was trying to, counteract what I was saying, but anyway. Here's another article going back to the... just throw them down there. Over at Brown University, students supporting free speech is extremely dangerous. Okay, 18 Brown University students recently signed an open letter vehemently objecting to an appearance by conservative commentator Guy Benson. I've never heard of that guy.
I don't know him either.
The letter declares that Benson's support for free speech is explicitly dangerous to marginalize people, arguing that free speech only benefits those who hold privileged identities. This again goes back to what I'm saying. Who has fucking privilege? Men die more likely on the fucking job than women do. They can have that fucking privilege if they want it.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, the men are more likely to commit suicide. And fuck, you want that fucking privilege? Go for it, man. Like, what are you talking about when you say fuck? Okay, let's get into the article. Maybe they'll confuse this confused white man. Or maybe they'll explain to this confused white man what the fuck is going on. But they say, students at Brown University object to a speech by blah... Oh, that's what it said before. The 18 students call themselves a collection of students at Brown University. That's a stupid name. Come on, guys. You're a university student. You can't come up with a better name than that?
Clearly not.
BSBU? Come on, man. Oh, CSB... No, fuck off. No. Wrote an open letter to Benson's appearance at Brown Tuesday night. And it just goes on to say that how free speech is fucking devastating. Okay, let's get into free speech for a minute. What's your thoughts? Just before I end up getting on another big ass tirade. Seriously, man, I won't shut up, so I'm just going to give you the floor.
So my stance on free speech to be, you should be able to say whatever you want. Within reason, obviously. Like, you're not...
Don't scream fire in a crowded theatre, that sort of shit.
You're not setting out to specifically attack someone, or obviously just go out to offend people on purpose, unless you're Milo, of course.
Well, okay, I'm going to have to interrupt. What's wrong with just making someone offended? You know what I mean? Like, what's wrong with someone walking away being offended about something?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, just... Yeah. Like, you don't go on stage to personally attack someone about something. You should always explain your points and arguments and stuff like that. And if they're offended by that, then stiff shit. Too bad.
The way I look at it, people say, well, you got to stop people like fucking the KKK or the white supremacists from marching. I was like, but why? They're idiots. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, are you really worried they're going to make a sensible argument? They're white supremacists. They're fucking morons. They believe that their fucking skin is better than other skin.
Yeah. It's like a...
We're worried about that. You know, really?
Really stupid thing that they have.
What's that old saying? Give a guy enough rope, he'll fucking hang himself. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's simple as that, man. But the problem is, it goes back to, you bar them. Who's next? Who do you bar then? You know what I mean? Do you bar Black Panthers? You know what I mean?
Consistently control.
Do Black Lives Matter suddenly get fucking banned because they're walking down the street saying, screaming fucking, what do we want? Dead cops. Have you seen that video?
To be fair, that group's beyond fucking stupid.
Yeah, again, they fall down this stupid rabbit hole of identity politics. Yeah. And if you look at the statistics, more black people get shot by it's going to sound fucking racist, but who gives a fuck? They get shot by more... They shoot each other than cops shoot them. Yeah. And cops shoot white people more than they shoot black people over in the States. You know why? Because it's safe to shoot a white guy. It's not safe to shoot a black guy anymore, because you're going to get protested and fucking, Then you have...
shot by your door.
Okay, the guy that ran over that girl in Charlottesville is a terrorist. A guy that fucking walked into that fucking gay nightclub is a terrorist. Fucking that fucking black guy that walked up to the back of that cop and shot him in the back of the head that was part of Black Lives Matter is a fucking terrorist. You know what I mean? Because they're not mentally ill. They're based on ideologies, and that's what it is. It's isn't that the whole definition of terrorism? Is to use attacks to further your ideology or your agenda or whatever it is. That's what it is. That's what terrorism is.
Yeah, make people fearful of you so they won't retaliate.
Yeah, and I'm sick of hearing like, oh, if it was a Muslim, it's terrorism. If it's fucking a white guy, it's always mental illness. Well, statistically, it usually is a fucking terrorist. If they're from the Middle East and they're fucking Sunni Wahhabists, I have to be clear, not all Muslims. Anyway,
not all Muslims are bad. That's obvious.
I get annoyed having to say that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Shouldn't it be fucking clear by now? It's like I was saying before. Not all white men. Not all fucking Muslims. It's the same fucking thing. then not everyone is cut from the same cloth. But if fucking a group of people commit a similar act and they're all fucking part of a Wahhabist church, and they're in that church, they're going to get, you know what Wahhabism is, don't you? It's a sect of
it's a part of. Oh, it's not a part of.
It's a sect of Islam that's mainly prominent in the United Emirates, Arab Emirates, yeah. The UAE, is it? Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
Israel, not Israel. Saudi Arabia. There's another place.
Qatar or
Qatar. Yeah, probably. They're the three main Wahhabist places. There, you're more likely, if you're gay, to be thrown off a fucking roof. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. I get on this.
More likely you would be.
See, I get on the podcast and I talk about that sort of thing, and I say Wahhabist. Then I'll go to a party, and some drunk guy every time, hey man, watch the podcast. What do you go against Muslims? I don't fucking have anything against Muslims, man. I'm talking about those crazy cunts that threw the gay fella off the roof. And particularly that one case was about imam in, you know what imam is? It's a priest. It's head of
like the.
It's like a
father.
priest. Yeah. Okay, he was having sex with a 15-year-old boy, right? Then they got caught. What he was doing wasn't gay, but because the boy had just turned 17, so he was no longer a boy, he was a man, and because he enjoyed having sex with the imam, he was gay, but the imam wasn't gay for having sex with him.
Like
so they threw this kid off a fucking building.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about. And the conversation, like they often do, goes other places after that.
Yeah.
So, and I can't guarantee where, you know, maybe I said something offensive after that fact. Maybe I made an offensive joke, which I tend to do. You know, who cares, man? Like, fucking, you know, but I've made my position clear. But still, people get to that point of the fucking podcast, and then they'll just shut it off, and then fucking next time they'll see me, they'll pull me up. Hey, man, fucks with the fucking shit. Yeah, I heard you said this shit in your podcast. Then I sit there and I explain it to them. Well, you shouldn't be able to talk about it either. I shouldn't be able to talk about it. Why?
You need to be able to talk
about it. You know, like, I've invited so many people onto this podcast. You know the ones out of all my group who won't come? Anyone who's on the left.
I was going to say, yeah, it'd be really people that are
anyone,
really over to that side.
Anyone on the left, they won't show up.
Like you explained to me before.
Yeah, before we started the podcast. Like, fucking, I have friends who won't talk to me because of the podcast. You know, and it's like, really, dude? Seriously? You don't like a couple of words that I've said on a broadcast, but you won't come on the broadcast in order to challenge those ideas?
Yeah.
Because maybe I'm wrong. And if I
disagreed with you, I'm not going to be like, well, fuck you, see you later.
Yeah, listen, man, I'm hoping that I'm going to bring someone on one day that's going to disagree with me. You know what I mean? I really do.
Yeah.
Like, fucking, because, like, I bring someone on and I'm like, here we go. Like, you know, no offense to you, but today I was like, okay, I'll get Dave on. Maybe I'll find something. Maybe I'll find something. He's like, no, listen, come on, man. Because the best thing to do is to be wrong about something.
Yeah,
because if you're wrong about something and somebody corrects you, then you're not wrong about that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and you can improve. But if I am wrong about this and nobody's correcting me, then I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah.
You understand? And the more people I bring onto the show and I say, well, here's my theory, what do you think? Oh, okay, yeah, well, that sounds, you know, plausible type of thing.
Yeah.
And
you've got to make them understand why this is correct, though.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm correct because of this. You've got to put, like...
You got to put, it's a nuance. Yeah, it's got to be a lot more nuance and stuff like that. And you can't be like someone like Milo and just saying, no, I don't think lesbians are real. Yeah. He said that at the show. I'm like, dude, oh, come on. Even the guy that was doing the host was like, oh, come on. You can't say that. He's like, well, I don't know. Every lesbian I know slept with a guy. And then he's like, didn't you sleep with a girl? Well, yeah, well, I was young. And he's like, you're straight then. You know, it's exactly the same thing. You know, but again, I'm getting off fucking topic. Free speech. We need it. I think I've pretty much covered it, right? But well, no, it to me it's needed. Well, it's needed because of exactly what I said, man. Because give a guy enough rope, he's going to hang himself.
Yeah.
Right. If they're a white supremacist, then you're probably not going to change their mind. But you can't stop them from fucking getting out there and marching. because it's like that old fucking.
If they're a reasonable person, I think he could change their mind.
Yeah, but
But being reasonable is a whole other thing altogether.
I heard this joke, and I've got a bit of an extra to it, and it's stand-up comedian, so I'm not technically stealing the joke, I'm just adding to it.
Yeah.
But just to add to people who don't comment below, like, hey, that's so-and-so's joke, you fucking joke thief, rah, rah, rah. It's not my joke, I'm just, I'm adding to it. But he says, not all Trump supporters are racist, or not all Trump supporters are white supremacists.
Oh, yes.
But all white supremacists are Trump supporters.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm thinking, what, not even one? There wasn't that one white supremacist who's a kid, his whole family's white supremacist, and I vote for her. He's got the little her bit, like, it's a bit of a joke, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, oh no, I vote for Hillary Clinton. You what? A little woman? You know what I mean?
Vote for her, boy.
I'll take it to back. I don't know why they're always fucking rednecks, but, I reckon a fucking racist could live in New York. But for some reason, they all live in Alabama.
Yeah.
Every time
Everyone
you see
lives
the
down the
stereotype. But the thing is, about racism, man, I don't think it's about race. I honestly don't. I think it's about culture. And I think it comes down to, if you're walking down the street and you see a black guy in a suit on a mobile phone, just typing away and that, you don't think anything of it. But then you see a black guy wearing fucking, I don't know, Crips fucking outfit. Not you'll see that in Australia, but you know what I mean. Someone who looks like
pants down.
Fucking
jersey,
the thug look.
Shit. Yeah.
Right. You're gonna cross the street. Now you switch that scenario up. You can put that guy. You can make that guy into any fucking religion or any race. It doesn't fucking matter, because any person who looks like a thug, you don't want to walk past them. I don't care if that's an Asian fellow walking past me who's only 3 foot tall. No, those little fellas can fight. No, I can not fucking... Oh, again, that's probably racist because I said Asians can fight. But anyway, it's a good stereotype. I don't understand. It's like...
Not every Asian knows martial arts.
Yeah, I know, but but they're good at math or something, And it's just like, oh, we don't like that stereotype. As if the black guys are complaining about the huge dick stereotype. Yeah. They're probably like, yep.
They're like, well, yeah, of course.
I remember I was at a party once and they had this Aboriginal fella, and he was going on about the idea of every black fella has a big dick, and my mate just turns around and he's like, well, go on then, John, get it out, and fucking he's like, oh, yeah, all right, and pretty confident man, he walks over. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
And my mate James is like, oh yeah, is that impressive? Like that.
Yeah.
I swear his dick did a turtle, went back into its shell, and zipped itself up, man, and got embarrassed.
You're just like,
and
shit.
He eventually left the party. But that, for me, I'm like, okay, well, I guess there are stereotypes that don't always go across the boards, but fucking, there are good stereotypes. Like, what's wrong with being good at math? You know what I mean? I don't see that as a bad stereotype. But again, we got a fucking topic. I believe that... Do you remember that old poem that came out? Oh, you probably... I'm trying to always fucking remember this thing, and I can never can. It's They Came For. Have you heard that?
No.
They came... It's a list of... they came for this group, but I wasn't a part of that group, so I said nothing. And then they came for these group, but I wasn't part of that group, so I said nothing. And then goes on and on and on and on. What I'll do is, when I'm editing this together, I'll throw it up so people can have a read of it. I'll probably even do a bit of a fucking read, probably edit something in there. But it's like, then these, they came for this person, this person, this person. I did nothing because I wasn't part of those groups. And then they came for me, and there was nobody left to defend me. That's exactly what's happening here, and this is exactly why you need free speech. Because the second they're able to go out there and even... Again, pick the worst people you can think of, fucking white supremacists. Even if they're able to shut them down, well, then who's next? Who gets shut down after that point?
Yeah.
It's going to be it's Black Panthers. Who's after that? It'll be another fucking group. It'll be another subcut, Well, we believe just because of what you said here, you're a racist. Next thing you know, Ben Shapiro is going to be shut down. Fucking Milo Yiannopoulos is going to be shut down.
Keep going and going until eventually it will probably eat into itself.
It eats itself, what I mean? And you're right,
Like Ouroboros or whatever it is.
Hey?
The creature that eats itself.
Yeah, the snake that eats its own tail
Yeah.
and shit. I've always been curious about that. What happens when it reaches the head?
Can it reach its own head?
Okay, it can.
Or can it?
I don't know.
It'll probably fuck itself up before then.
It doesn't work.
exactly.
I get confused every time I think
Can't
of
get that far
how does
before
the
it
head
kills
get up to
itself.
the head? What happens when the head gets up to the head? Well, it's probably dead by that stage, so it hasn't
Yeah.
eaten that much. But fucking anyway,
She's fucking gone by then.
I just think that the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is free speech. Is freedom to say what you want to say. There's the freedom to get up here and do this podcast and say whatever the fuck we want. Yes, we might get in trouble for what we say, and this is the thing. Just because you have the right to say it doesn't mean you can't be criticised for saying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's what has to be remembered as well. Just because you said it doesn't mean that some cunt can't come at you and say, "Oi, I heard what you said on your podcast, rah, rah, rah," and then you have to clarify what you mean. But you keep fucking defending your same spot, you become really good at it, you know?
Yeah, sit down and have a discussion about it, don't.
There's no discussions to have anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah,
like,
that's the problem. No one has a discussion about things.
2 or
Just
3
wanna-
beers in, and they're just like, oh, you know, they
You
want to
point
fucking
shit
fight you,
as
and
well.
you know, fucking, it's just ridiculous. Like, a friend of mine suffers bad anxiety, and we were talking the other day, and I was reading a study about psilocybin. You know what that is?
Which one was it?
Psilocybin.
No.
It's the main chemical in magic mushrooms. It's the one that makes you all tripped out and shit. They're giving that to anxiety patients, and it's fucking and it was 80%, something like that I read in this study. Now this isn't peer reviewed, you know what I mean? It's still, you know, it's only just fresh study and shit like that. But what they're finding is giving this to people with anxiety, especially death anxiety, which is probably the worst fucking one you can have, lying on a bed any fucking time now.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have weeks, I don't have months, I have probably a few days, a few hours, you know what I mean? That's probably the worst anxiety that anybody could get. Like, even thinking about it makes me have a bit of an anxiety attack, you know, about one day you're going to be there. But I would rather someone give me something that took that anxiety away. And if it's magic mushrooms, then fucking why not? But she made the argument that the drug was illegal. Sorry, not she. He made the argument that the drug was illegal. And I was like, well, yeah, sure, the drug might be illegal. But fucking, if it helps somebody, what can it hurt? We grow opiums. Tasmania is the number 3 place in the world that grows the poppy plant.
Yeah.
Because we need that for morphine and fucking shit that we use. Now, if we banned heroin outright, like the opiate plant outright, then you wouldn't have morphine. You wouldn't have fucking all these drugs that help you when you're fucking at the dentist's office, or even fucking cancer patients, you know, for severe pain or whatever the situation is. You wouldn't have that drug. Now, I think that the marijuana and magic mushrooms and that, they look like party drugs, and everyone just assumes, oh, they're just party drugs. What the fuck are people going to use them for? Or what good are they going to do to people? I honestly think that if fucking somebody is on their deathbed, and then you give them morphine and then some fucking psilocybin, and then they're no longer scared, they're no longer worried, what's the harm? You know what I mean? They're on their fucking deathbed, man. Like, fucking, I'd rather be on my deathbed flicking away pretend balloons, you know, than freaking out, holding my fucking kids or grandkids, bawling my eyes out, you know what I mean? But anyway, it comes down to fucking, here's a question that we never cover. Sorry, I joke around because we do this all the time, but what's your view on the current war on drugs? Like, across the board, you know, fucking from Schedule A to whatever it goes down to. What's your classification? Like, what's your feeling of it?
Just like prescription drugs, or like every kind of drug.
Everyone. Mainly, let's just we'll stick to. Oh shit!
They're dying on me.
Yeah, talking about drugs happens every time.
Right
every time I talk about drugs, I light a cigarette and I start coughing my ass off. It happens every time during the podcast. It's weird. I guess because I'm talking and trying to fucking anyway. But let's just stay on illegal drugs. How do you feel about the criminalization of those like heroin, marijuana, ecstasy, magic mushroom?
Some drugs I'm like clearly opposed to.
Such as
like the reasonable ones, like ice and shit like that.
But ice is just a derivative from speed, as far as I know.
Yeah, like ice and speed and shit like
Mm.
the things they make people do, stuff like that. Is,
Yeah.
Or people eventually become doing like that.
Mm.
Is like it's terrible. Like
Yeah, but if you had ADHD, they'd be selling you speed.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And this is the way I look at it. If people want to take something, I don't think there's anything that you can stop them from taking it. And by decriminalising it the way we have and locking them up in prison, it's not helping them fight whatever addiction that they have on the substance. You know what I mean? And then you hear people like Russell Brand, who's like, well, abstinence is the way to go. Yeah, well, try telling that to a 17-year-old who wants to have sex. You know, no, abstinence is the way to go.
Yeah.
Well, it's no different than a fucking drug addict. Oh, just put the needle down. Just don't look at it.
Right, mate.
Stop looking at it. Stop. Just don't. You know?
Yeah, just
How
don't
much
touch
can that, you know, like, I've had friends who've gone over, done rehab. The moment they've come out, they're like, oh, I'm really good, man. I'm really good. But then suddenly they're back into their familiar environments. And then they jump back into old habits.
Yeah,
Very
start hanging around,
fucking
like, the same people.
same people, you know, and they're like, no, I'm not doing it, oh, just give us a little smoke. And a majority of them, I had a friend of mine, didn't know, like, lost contact with him in year, what year was this? Fucking, late high school, you know. He went to a different high school
Yeah.
at the end of year 10, I went to senior college. I think he might have dropped out, and we just sort of lost contact, sort of thing. And I reading in the paper one day that he was found dead in his driveway. You know, he overdosed on heroin.
Yeah.
You know, or was it ice? I can't fucking remember. He overdosed on something and couldn't make it into his house. Fell asleep in the driveway. Wherever he was living at the time, let us know. Died in the driveway. Now, I could be fucking very, you know, against fucking heroin.
Yeah.
No, he did that. You know, nobody else did that to him.
Yeah,
he
nobody
did
else
that
forced
to
him to.
himself. Janis Joplin, you know, the singer.
Yeah.
She got off heroin for a while and then started touring again. Same band, same fucking, you know, crew, everything. But the problem was they hadn't stopped using. So by the time she got back on the road, she's just like, oh, just
Back into it.
yeah, just got back into it. I don't think she injected. I think she smoked it, but then she overdosed because she used the exact same amount that would take her to get high. Have you ever gone a period of time without having a drink?
Yeah.
And then having that first drink and like, well, Jesus,
And you're like,
how
"Whoa,
strong
that's
is
fucking
this?
Heaps. Yeah.
Yeah. It's no different than, you know, drugs. You build up an immunity to it. And she felt that, you know, she could take as much as she did, but by taking that amount, she overdosed.
Yeah.
But there has to be a sense of personal responsibility that I don't think we got now. You know what I mean? There's no sense of personal...
Responsibility isn't really a thing anymore. I've noticed.
It's, again, they want to fucking blame other people.
Yeah.
They want to blame, you know, the patriarchy, systems of oppression, victimize, you know, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm a victim, glass
Everything's a
ceiling,
victim.
all this fucking bullshit. And it's just like, no, take on some personal fucking responsibility.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna getting away from, you know, all that, you know, the patriarchy crap for a second, but if you're gonna choose to do something, then you're gonna take on the responsibility of the effects that that's gonna have on you. I mean, I'm sitting here having a cigarette. I'm not gonna be, if I ever end up like the people that have on the packets,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be sitting there going, why didn't somebody tell me?
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh, I kind of fucked up there. Nobody takes on that responsibility anymore. That, you know what, I think I might have made a mistake here. You know.
Yeah.
Instead, they just fucking they blame the drug, or they blame, oh, I blame that fucking girl that broke up with me in grade 5. She broke my heart. You know, it's like, dude, that was grade 5, man. I remember talking to a friend of mine years after he broke up with this girl, and I hadn't seen him for years. Ran into him at the pub. We were walking down to get a kebab, and halfway down there, he just started breaking down and crying. And I was like, oh, fuck, dude, are you okay? Then I find out that he's crying about this girl that he dated in high school. Now, we were 25 at the time, so it'd been fucking 7-8 years since high school, and I'm like, really? You know, you're still hung up about that girl? And I had to fucking break it down to him that fucking, I'm sorry, dude, but fucking as soon as she dumped you, she went straight back to her ex. Right, you know, and I just laid it out straight for him.
Yeah.
And like fucking, then I saw him a while later, and he's dating someone again, and you know, he actually looked fucking happy because he allowed himself, instead of getting over it, he became a victim of the circumstance, and then just lived there. He decided to live in hell instead of fucking bringing himself up.
He
It's
got
like,
stuck so much in his own little world thing that he couldn't escape it.
it's like Jordan Peterson says, the hero mythology. He talks about what's that Bible verse? The guy Jonah, the guy that goes into the belly of the beast.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Well, he uses that as an analogy of people who go through bad times. You know, you get swallowed by the whale or the shark or whatever, and then you get taken down into the depths, which is pretty much hell. Or the hell could be just your normal situation. You could go home one day, you know, married for 20 years or something, walk inside and find a note, you know, and you're happy. You're in heaven at that moment. You walk through that door and find a note from your wife that says fucking, oh, I've left you, I've been having an affair for the last 20 years. Well, you're now in hell. You know what I mean? You've gone from fucking one state of mind to a fucking another. And the problem is people don't know how to escape out of that.
Yeah.
And Jordan Peterson uses that as an analogy of escaping from the belly of the beast. You know what I mean? But you have to face the trouble before you can escape it. Yeah. Otherwise, because not everybody, as he describes, because when Jonah escapes the whale, he vomits up all the other people who didn't escape the whale.
Yeah.
So, as well as saving himself, he saves a bunch of other people.
Saves others, yeah.
But those people weren't willing to save themselves, and that's sort of the analogy I'm getting at. They get into a mind frame where they're not willing to help themselves, and they can't, you know what I mean? Because they looked at themselves as a victim. Oh, I'm a victim. You know what I mean? I'm just going to sit here and live in hell because, you know, that's just what it is.
They're stuck in their own little personal hell.
And the only way, if you ask me, the only way to pull yourself up from that is to literally pull yourself up. You know what I mean? Literally, like, if it's only walking once a day, you know, go get some exercise. Like, maybe you're overweight and that's the fucking problem. Well, body positivity fucking crap's not going to fucking help you. What's going to help you is going for a walk once a day.
All the, what was it? The fat acceptance shit?
Oh, fuck, I'm so honest. I'm so, fat shaming.
Fat shaming.
Yeah. I got fat shamed, like, you know, and I fucking deserved it.
That big though.
Well, now, right? I was, I say 130 because I weighed myself and it said 130, and everyone I tell that it's like, I knew you back then.
Pretty fucking big.
They're like, I knew you back then. You weren't that big. I was like, well, this is 2000. No, it's 2009. I was eating like Macca's every day, fucking, you know, sitting on the computer, smoking cigarettes, like, you know, any chance I get, I'll down the bolo buying a slab of beer. You know what I mean? Yeah. Every fucking bad vice you could think of, I was doing at the time. And I remember I went down to the pub and I ran into this chick who absolutely shamed me. She's like, listen, what the fuck have you done to yourself? Huh? You know? Yeah. And like, I knew I was getting big, especially getting in the car, getting that fucking belt around. You know, having to give it 9 tugs in order to get it clipped there, and even feeling, oh my god, that might not reach. Like, you know, I think I've overextended this belt, which is supposed to go right up to the, yeah. Pretty much, man. Like, fucking didn't go on any fucking show rides in case I will tilt the tilter wheel or whatever. But fucking, all jokes aside, I ended up leaving feeling fucking terrible about myself. You know what I mean? But the next day I was like, well, okay, I've got to do something about this. And the first thing I did was, okay, well, stop eating Macca's. You know, that's number one thing. And the second thing was, I'll start walking my dog every day. She needs to go for a walk. Like, she's getting fat too. And my dog was, you know, and we'd get a certain point and my dog's like, are we going home yet? Like, you know, and I'm like, I'm in it, you know. But eventually we started making it down to the bridge. And then, the underpass that leads to the park up here.
Oh, yep.
Up near 7th Street. We were making it up there, which is, to anyone who's listening, about a block or two, give or take. Up and back. Then we're going right up to the bridge and back. Then we were doing 2 laps of the fucking, thing and back, you know. But it grew over time. And I just remember one day I had to go do something, and I went to stood up from the chair and almost threw myself onto the floor because I went up that fucking quickly because I'd lost all the fucking weight. And any fucking thing that happened after that, anytime I got depressed, like, because it wasn't soon after that I started losing all the weight that both my dogs died in a period of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, like, one passed away, and then 2 weeks later I had to get the other one put down. And that fucking devastated me, you know. And again, like, so I didn't walk anywhere for fucking ages and shit. But I honestly believe if I was still the size that I was then, that would have contributed to more of that depression that I was suffering through when hell came knocking, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the problem, that people aren't willing to face little things that they can change right now. So when the bad things happen, and they will fucking happen, I don't care who you are, man, you can't escape it. You can't escape bad things happening. You know, if your parents are still alive, sorry to say, one day there won't be.
Yeah.
That you're gonna have to deal with that. Maybe you're gonna be unlucky, and maybe you might have to bury a fucking child, like a few of my friends down at fucking the place I volunteer at have. I mean, terrible fucking stories, man.
Very few friends a bit earlier than I thought.
Again, and that's another thing. Like, fucking, it's a slogan and it's a good one, but shit happens, man. You know what I mean? And if you're already miserable with your life because you're not changing anything, because just let's use the being overweight as an example. If you're not at least getting up and walking to the supermarket and carrying this, you know, shit home, or just walk into the park, or get a puppy and walk the dog around the block. Just that little bit, you know, like, keep pushing that ahead. And if you're able to do that, then when hell finally comes knocking, you don't have that burden. All you have to deal with now is the problem at hand, and not, oh my god, my dog's just died and I'm overweight. You know what I mean? And this is happening, and this is happening.
Just make incremental changes.
Because what happens is, when that happens, you just get avalanche with problems, and then you do feel buried, then bang, you're back in hell.
Yeah.
You know, and honestly, my own, you know, it's about taking personal responsibility for your own life, and fucking, when bad shit happens, if you put on fucking weight, get a treadmill. It's not that fucking hard. You know what I mean? Buy a bike. You know what I mean? It's not that fucking hard. I got a brother who works at a bike shop. You want a fucking discount? I'll give him a call. You know what I mean? Like, I'll help you out as much as I can. If you're not willing to help yourself out, then there's no fucking thing. It's no worth, you know, helping you. And this goes back to what I was saying about the drugs. A lot of people go to fucking rehab. They want to get clean. Oh no, their family want them to get clean, but they have no intention to get clean. So the second they're out, they get back to using again. You know what I mean? But anyway, I think I've exaggerated that. I've gone with that as much as I possibly could. Have you got anything to add before we move on to another topic?
No, the only thing I was going to say, like, with the fat shaming thing, like, I got pretty overweight one time. Because I was just feeling like shit all the time.
Yeah.
So I was eating shit food, same as you, just on the computer, doing shit like that. I wasn't exercising, anything like that.
It's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just so easy.
To get stuck in that routine of doing the same shit over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit about anything else. And the reason I got out of it is because one day I was like, oh, I'm just going to weigh myself, see what I'm like.
Yeah.
Weighed myself and I was like, holy fuck,
yeah.
I've actually done that.
Yeah.
I'm actually this big.
And the thing is, you did it to yourself.
Yeah.
It's not like little gremlins are coming in the middle of the night, pumping you full of fat. You know what I mean? It's like, I got him.
I slowly did this myself over to like a year or whatever, and then I've just sort of done that, and I've gone, if I fucking keep going the way I am, I'm going to end up like this person. I know.
Well, look at Kevin Smith. We were talking about it at the start of the show, man. Like, fucking, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, he was lucky that he went went to the hospital when he did, because he had 2 other shows or something else planned when he did, and he cancelled the other shows in order to go to the hospital. Same with my old man. He had a heart attack, and he didn't even know he was having a heart attack. I was like, I'm going to call the ambulance. Oh, don't do that. You know, stubborn old prick. You know, he's like, I'll fight through it. Give me an asprin. You know, type of shit. You know, I'll be right. Yeah. Just a bit of a cramp. You know, it's like, you know, and then
just have a sit down.
Yeah. I was like, listen, like, you don't want me to call an ambulance. I don't have a car. I don't have my license. So let me fucking call my brother. Went down the road. Didn't have any credit, so I went down the road to my neighbour's house. Got the phone. Called my brother. By the time I got back, he was just sweating and fucking rah. Then Ben walks in the gate, and Ben's like, what the fuck? You know, you didn't call an ambulance? It wasn't this bad like 5 minutes ago. I just, you know, lucky Ben was only like up at Coles, so he was a block away, and he was able to come down. And Ben just ripped me up a new one, like fucking, you know. But it was funny when they were driving into the hospital, Ben's going around the corners, speeding and da-da-da-da, and he's like, and Dad's like, slow down. You'll get a ticket. Again, it just goes to show, you know, the type of dude my old man is, you know. Yeah. Slow down. You're going to get a ticket. And Ben's like, shut the fuck up. You know, and Ben was just like, oh, please don't die on my new car. Please don't die
Yeah.
in my new car. I love my new car. If you die, I'm gonna have to sell it.
It's cursed.
Like he made the joke later on, that joke later on, and everyone had a bit of laugh. And Dad's like, "Hey, like, come on, you motherfuckers! Like, I was dying there, and you're making jokes. Oh, come on, Dad." But shit, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, Kevin Smith. Like, he used to wake up in the morning. I've been following the dude for years. Like, you listen to his podcast?
Some of them. I haven't had a chance to listen to a lot.
It's pretty fucking funny, especially the one he does with Scott Mosier. Because all he does is sit there, get incredibly stoned, and read fucking just weird articles that he decides to write into. Tusk came from an episode of one of his podcasts. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into Kevin Smith because I don't want the thing to be all about him.
Yeah.
But the dude's been overweight for a long fucking time.
Yeah.
He's been one of my favorite fucking and it's just like one of my favorite directors, and it's just like when I found out that news this morning, I was like, oh fuck, yeah, he is in his 50s, he is overweight. I don't know, I always had this assumption that I'm going to meet him one day, and then when I found out that, I was like, oh, my first reaction was like, but if he dies, I won't meet him. Like, you know what I mean? Sounds really selfish, you know what I mean? But fucking, I just love the fucking, the scripts that he's wrote, the characters he's come up with. He's a fucking really good director, and like to see him go like that, something that could have been prevented. Like you'd be missing out on whatever else he decides to create. Because one or two things are going to happen now. He's going to fucking give up on directing because he's going to keep the lifestyle that he has.
Yeah.
And he's just going to go, no, there's no more stress, and directing's very stressful. I'm going to step out. That's either going to happen, or he's going to fucking lose all the weight, and we're going to get fucking a movie every year. You know what I mean? I'm hoping the latter.
He's been directing a lot of shows and stuff too. Like
he's doing Flash and
stuff.
Supergirl and stuff like that. And he actually did a really good episode of The Flash. It's all about. I don't want to get again. This isn't about entertainment. This is about fucking technically political stuff. But fucking my point being is that he let himself go to the point that we could have lost. We fucking know him, like he's a good mate or something. But somebody who, for me personally, this podcast probably wouldn't exist because I wouldn't have got into video editing. I wouldn't have got into this. I wouldn't have got, if it wasn't for Clerks, or more necessarily Clerks 2. That movie, fuck it. Seriously, man, I remember watching that for the first time, and that jail scene at the very end, where he's trying to convince him.
Can't remember.
There's a jail scene at the very end, man. Seriously, it makes me cry every time I watch it. And it's so stupid. You're like, you crying through a Jay and Silent Bob film, but it's just these two dudes who one of them's moving away. You know what I mean? And it just reminds me of when you're a kid and your best mate's moving away. And there's just one simple line. Fuck, I'm tearing up even thinking about it. And he's just like, please, dude, don't leave. Or something like that. And me best mate at the time just moved away. I think that had a lot to probably do with it. And then I just remember watching that for the first time going, it's like, don't leave, Dante. Stay with... Oh, no, it's not Dante. Oh, what's his name? Fuck. Oh, anyway.
It's Dante, isn't it?
Dante or... No, it is Dante. Yeah, Randall's the other one, the smart-ass one, yeah. It's like, Dante, don't leave, type of thing. But anyway. Off topic again. Okay, let's try and fucking get onto another fucking subject. I've seen all these fucking politically correct fucking stuff, so I'm going to try and fucking...
I was going to say, there's one that I haven't read that you put today. This one here.
Oh, alright. You want to have a crack at that?
Yeah.
Alright.
Because this looks pretty interesting. I like my science fiction-y shit.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to new research, smart contact lenses could be around the corner. Blah, blah, blah. Flexible contact lenses capable of measuring glucose levels in your tears as well, and truly into the testing stage. Aside from potentially helping diabetics to adjust their insulin levels, the developments open a myriad of applications that seem exclusive to sci-fi until now. So for the last 4 years, tech giants like Samsung, Google and Apple have been working on prototypes of smart contact lenses that track glucose levels or even detect cancer. That's pretty cool.
Huh.
But so far, the electronics embedded in the lenses make them either too rigid or too opaque. The first experiments were deemed too uncomfortable for wearing, and their glucose measurables unreliable. Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah. Well, it's only the testing fucking one anyway, so...
The idea
Anyways.
of contacts still freak me the fuck out.
Hmm.
Filling
Fuck
with
it
your
out.
eyes and shit all the time. Just weirds me
Oh.
out.
See about that fucking kids putting urine in their eyes? Yeah.
No.
These kids over in America, it's like that
Type
thing.
of shit.
Yeah. They were putting urine in their eyes, and what happens is they fucked up their eyes and you know, get infected, and they lose their sight. And anyway, sorry, getting off fucking topic again.
That's gross as shit.
But this actually reminds me, they've got a fucking optical implant now for the blind, right?
Yeah.
But it's so fucking expensive that they don't know when they can put it out onto the market.
Mm.
You know, I volunteer with the blind down at one of the local centres down here.
Yeah.
And I remember my boss pulling me up one day because I was bitching about the royal family. And they were like, they do a lot of good work, that you know, charity this and that. What do you do? Oh, you know, I only work with the blind, you know. What about yourself? And I said this on the radio, and he's like, and we're going to song. He quickly just cut from the song, but anyway, that has nothing to do with this. But this does interest me. The only thing I can think of, do you remember, I think it was Iron Man 2, when Black Widow gets introduced, and he's like, tell me about her, and then they pull out that fucking pad, and then they go, brrr, and then all of that person's information comes out. All I can think when they talk about this sort of tech, because eventually they're going to be like your fucking, it's not a smartphone of course, but it's everything that's in here will be in a tiny little lens, meaning that I could look at you and, okay, I've just accepted your friend's request. You know what I mean? Like, you know, now we're friends. Or I could do a Google search of you, like I've just met you at the pub, do a quick Google search, ooh, I don't like what people have to say about this guy, and just turn around and walk away. You know what I mean? Like, it sort of ends that there's like a technological barrier between people at that point. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off track again. So this, in a sense, this is to measure what your heart. In a sense, this is a Fitbit in your eye.
Yeah, essentially.
In a sense, like you know, like it doesn't. Well, maybe it might have your heart monitor and stuff like that. I don't know if they can track that with your eyeball.
I assume it wouldn't obviously display it on your eye. It would probably display it on like an app or something.
Right.
Since I haven't read the entire thing. Before I jump to conclusions and completely fuck this up. Blah, blah, blah. Something about UK.
I think that's where they're testing the first ones over in the UK. But technology like this freaks me out, man. Because at what point are they going to be able to start recording your shit? I mean, they can turn your phone on without your fucking, you know, the microphone on your phone without you knowing, even if the phone's switched off. Could you imagine doing your misses and suddenly your optical fucking nerves kick in and, you know, fucking some cunt.
Stream it to someone.
Yeah, some cunt on, you know, some fat guy with cheesels all down his fucking top is just staring at you, what, you know, fucking your missus going, Because guarantee that's going to fucking happen. That's the problem I have with all this technology is they build in back doors, you know, so the government can hack it. But if the government... Sorry, I'm spitting everywhere. But if the government can hack it, then that doesn't mean fucking somebody else can't fucking hack it. You know, hack the technology. But I see how it's a good thing, but fucking I don't see why checking your glucose from a optical thing. You know what I mean? Like, again, wouldn't a Fitbit, like that sort of technology, something wearable be a bit more fucking, you know, for the, you know, because you see Google Glass and stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just seems like they're trying to blend that with the fucking Google Glass. But anyway, sorry. What do you think of the whole rise of this techno eyeballs? It's in a sense, the
techno eyeballs.
Yeah. Would they call it an eye?
Apple probably would.
Yeah, an eye. That doesn't really work.
Or something.
Anyway, yeah. Sorry, keep going.
I reckon,
again, if you don't stop me, I'll just keep going. So yeah.
I reckon eventually it would probably be the norm. Eventually, this thing will go away. You won't have any of these anymore.
I just want them to be like this, so I can put it on.
Eventually, you won't even have those.
Well, yeah, but I want to have the ability to take off the tech, turn the tech off, and put it away.
Yeah.
Like,
I reckon it might be eventually be like an earpiece or something. Stick it in your ear, it'll probably send some sort of signal through to your brain or something like that.
Just go click. Hello? What's going on? You know? I freaked out the first time I saw fucking wireless headphones because I didn't see the other side of the dude's head, so I didn't see the earpiece. He's just walking down the street talking to himself, and I'm like, okay, you know.
Like eventually, I reckon that'll be the norm, like something like that. Just stick in inside of you. That has everything you need.
it just makes me afraid. You know, there's a part, I don't know, maybe I'm watching too much Black Mirror, and you know, but I see shit like that because I watched something the other day, how they're thinking about transferring your personality into computers. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't think that's like...
That's like,
you know?
Have you watched Altered Carbon yet?
I haven't watched I've got the season. I haven't on Netflix there. I haven't fucking sat down and watched it. Like,
It's a very
I've been
similar
meaning
concept.
to.
They basically use like a sort of like a little disc that
Mm.
sits in the back of your neck.
Yeah.
It basically records everything you do.
Okay.
So if your body dies or whatever, they can literally just rip that out
Mm.
and put it into a new body, and it will change
Is-
everything you have.
Yeah, but again, like, is that a copy of you or is that you? Because
Yeah.
you hear about like, what's his name? There's a big tech guy, Kirksman, something like that. He's always talking about the singularity and stuff like that, and how he wants to merge human being. He goes, I don't believe in God yet.
Yeah.
Meaning that people will become God. I said that to a mate of mine during one of the podcasts. He's real big Christian. He's just like, boy, trust me, he had a lot of fucking problems with people claiming that they're going to be God one day. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. And what I found funny about about it was, you listen to what Kirksman, something, I almost have it, then it's just gone. But he wants to bring back his dad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to me, he just seems like some guy who's just missing his dad. So I feel bad for him. But that's not going to be your dad. You know what I mean? It has the memories of your dad. You know what I mean? But it's, even if it had an AI built into it so it could think and reason and...
It's not physically the same person.
No, it wouldn't be, because it then would start having its own experiences.
Yeah.
You know, and what's to say that fucking... Because I keep getting reminded about things I did when I was a kid. Like, you know what I mean? And I reckon there's a whole almost 15 years that I just don't remember. That maybe if, going down the road, a certain scent might trigger it. But they're all locked away.
Yeah.
What's to say that, a program that lives for 100, 200... Because it won't die, 200 years, 300 years... is even the same fucking thing that it was when it started.
Yeah.
Or even if it is that thing. I remember hearing about all this, and I think it was the Black Mirror episode. The one with... they have that plot where they get transferred into the artificial environment when they're dying and shit like that, and the two girls find each other and they fall in love.
Is that in the latest season?
No, it's in season 4.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That episode really pissed me off because, like, the black girl in the episode falls in love with the redhead.
Yeah.
And she explains to her that no, this is just a little bit of fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then eventually she gets around to telling her that, no, I was married. I was married to a guy. We had had a daughter. The daughter died. And they make a big emphasis that because the husband died and now she's just like an 80-year-old woman on her deathbed, living her final moments in this fantasy program. Spoilers, I'm sorry for anyone who hasn't seen a year ago from Black Mirror, but anyway.
You should watch it, it's fucking good.
Oh, it's brilliant, I fucking love it, but anyway, we're not reviewing Black Mirror here. But what happens at the very end, and I guess they wanted a happy ending, it's kind of strange for Black Mirror, but they end up together, because what happens is, the black girl lost her daughter, then she loses her husband, and they make a big emphasis on, well, wherever they are now, it's not this computer program.
Yeah.
So even if they, even if the afterlife doesn't exist, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, I'll be with them. You get what I mean? Like, I'll be gone with them. I'll be gone like them. But if there is an afterlife, I'm not going to risk being trapped in this computer with you. And then the last 5 minutes, they're like, oh, screw that. And they skip off down the fucking street. It's like, what about your fucking daughter? You've been going on for 45 minutes. Yeah. But that triggered a nightmare that I had. And I was hooked up to a machine, like in Cappy or Chappie, where they put the machine on and the dude just drops, and then suddenly he wakes up in the robot. I remember thinking at the time, that's not him. That just killed that guy.
Yeah.
That just probably, he's dead. Now that's just a copy of him who thinks he's him. That caused a nightmare that I had, that someone put a machine on my head, and then I dropped, and then I woke up on a street, walking along the street. But the person who woke up on the street knew that wasn't... It's okay, it's going to get confusing. That the one walking on the street was in a virtual reality but that wasn't me.
Yeah.
And that me understood that the real me died. It was fucking...
Back then,
yeah, it was weird, but it goes back to what I'm saying. They're not the person you think they are. They're just a carbon copy. They're just a copy of them. It's like I've been watching a shit ton of Star Trek lately. I fucking love that show. And anyway, and they've got the holodeck on there. And every now and then, like, you know, they've got a trouble, so they pull together like Albert Einstein and all these great thinkers, and they're all sitting there going, okay, let's work out this fucking problem. And a majority of the time, fucking anyway, like, yeah, they solve the problem, whatever. But I always think that's not Albert Einstein. That's just a computer construct of, you know, all of his memories and shit. But that doesn't mean that...
programmed to act like him.
Yeah, it's just a program to act like him. It's not as clever as he is. It wouldn't have the same idea.
Cleverer.
Well, oh yeah, maybe.
Well, you think in that time it would be anyway.
Well, yeah. But you get what I'm going with.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the actual person. It's just a copy of the person. And I think that a living person can give nuance to a scenario where a computer program is only programmed to think a certain way, and it can't think outside that box.
Yeah.
Because the second it starts thinking outside that box, it's no longer what the original one was. Do you understand what I mean? So you've just got two separate identities. That's why I don't like Robert Kurtzman. That's his name. I fucking knew I'd get it eventually. Robert Kurtzman. And he just believes in the singularity. Because I honestly believe he's just a guy that misses his dad.
Yeah.
And I understand that. Fucking, like, you know, I miss my nana like fucking... Oh, you know, like, and she died when I was 9, you know, but I still fucking... Oh, wouldn't it be great to sit down and talk to her? You know, wouldn't it be great to meet a old ancestor? And, you know, when you sit back and you have fantasies of the afterlife and shit like that, it's like, oh, I'd like to meet my great-great-great... But how far does that go back? I mean, if evolution's true, just... Hey, hear me out for a second. If evolution's true and theory and the theory of the afterlife is true, then could we go back and meet our ancestor who was a monkey? Would they be up there?
Yeah.
You know, your great whatever grandfather that's actually, you know, was technically, you know, would they be there? Would that ancestor that we shared with a lobster, would they be there? Yeah, because we actually share, you know, DNA with lobsters. Yeah.
That's bringing them back into the computer, though.
No, I'm just
making general.
Okay, yeah. I'm just saying, like, fucking, if you bleed the... Okay, I'm probably getting off track and we're probably making no sense at all. But if you bleed two ideas together, and it's the idea of evolution and the idea of an afterlife, right? And if you can go to an afterlife and meet anybody else. But if the evolution is true and afterlife is true, how far does that go back? I mean, are you meeting your monkey ancestors? Are you meeting the ancestor we had with crayfish? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's my great-great-grandfather over there. You know, there's a little crayfish just fucking sitting on the ground, chopping away. I don't know, man. I'm probably getting way off fucking topic here. But anyway, is there anything else you wanted to cover while we're talking about tech? Because there's another article here.
I was going to say, going back to where putting somebody into a computer.
Yeah. So I'm listening.
How much... So I had a thought when you were talking about earlier before. If you
that wasn't me, that was I swear.
How much of a person would it actually retain if you did that? And two, even if it was the same person, would they still have the same desires and things like that? Because you can't really replicate that at the moment.
Well, you can't. And the thing is, like, do you really want to be trapped in an iPhone? What happens when the iPhone X comes out? What happens when the next technology comes out? You know, like, I have VHS players or VHS tapes in there that I'll never watch again. But I'm not throwing them out because they're my favourite fucking movies. But at the same time, I have nothing, and I can buy nothing to ever watch them.
Yeah.
So if I've transferred my consciousness into a piece of technology that's just suddenly gotten that fucking outdated and old that you can't transfer me out of it, then what... You know what I mean? Like, do you really want to be stuck in an iPhone for the rest of your life? Like, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, sorry, like, I'm getting off fucking topic. But it's just something that, you know, I think it was Joe Rogan that brought up on his podcast the other day. He's like, do you really want to be trapped in your iPhone? I wouldn't want to be trapped in an iPhone, especially when the iPhone X comes out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, but then do you want to be trapped in an iPhone X when something even better comes out?
I think by the time we get there, technology will eventually slow down.
No, I
It
don't.
can only advance to a certain point where things become increasingly harder to get to.
Mm. Yeah, but what point is that then? Like, we honestly thought that who could have predicted the internet 50
Yeah.
years ago? You know what I mean? Like, who could have predicted something like, or maybe not 50 years ago, probably, the technology we have today, who would have predicted 50, 100 years ago?
Yeah.
So that's to say, in 50, 100 years, who knows what we have? We have 3D printers that can create buildings. You know what I mean? Have you
Make
seen?
guns out of them and shit like that.
You can make anything. It's again going back to Star Trek. It's that replicator. Like
Yeah.
in Star Trek, they have a replicator, and they can make any food that they want. Eventually, we're going to get to that point. You know, what
If
that
we
you
get to
know,
that point.
what do you think? We'll wipe ourselves out prior to getting there.
A couple things could possibly happen.
Mm.
One, I'm pretty sure some religions will try and fuck everything up for everyone else,
Mm.
and we all know who those are.
The Jews. No.
Or two,
I remember someone. No, hang on. Before someone mentioned the Jews on the last podcast,
yeah,
and I'm like, dude, we do a podcast about conspiracy theories. Please don't mention the Jews. Like, you know, I'll get in trouble. Like,
another
you know.
can of worms.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Fucking, there are certain cultures out there that don't blend well with others.
Anything else?
Well, yeah, with anything.
With
Yeah.
anything else.
And well, what do you do about that? You know, do you just fucking, you know, like this whole idea of multiculturalism? I don't think it's really working. Like, I like a kebab like next to the next guy, but fucking, we didn't adopt everything from that. You know, where did the kebab come from? Fuck.
Well, Turkish, Italy, somewhere like that.
Okay.
Greece, probably.
Greek. Okay. Well,
Greek? I'm pretty sure.
no, I don't think. Anyway,
You're
from
right.
whatever
Let's
cut.
go.
Well, that goes to show we don't even know where the kebab came from.
Oh,
You
we
know, it
don't
just
know.
showed up one day. I'm sure people out there know where the original country it came from. I'm thinking Turkey. That's probably wrong, but we didn't adopt. Let's just say that for an example, we didn't adopt all their fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing about fucking multiculturalism and the reason it's not fucking working is because there's no real assimilation anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's fine. Bring the stuff that no, it's going to sound terrible, but bring the stuff that works here. The stuff that doesn't work here, leave over there because it's obviously not working for a reason. I mean, if fucking the Saudi Arabia suddenly came up with a fucking 0-point energy machine, you know what I mean? Bring them out. Let's see this shit, you know what I mean? But as long as they're throwing gay people off roofs and shit like that, it's like, okay, wait. Yeah, let's just who are they again?
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, I get in trouble about the immigration fucking side of things, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I honestly believe in a secure border, and we're one of the best countries in the world for it because technically we're an island. We're a huge fucking island.
Massive island.
But, you know, and some people debate if we're a continent or a fucking island or, you know, some shit, but whatever. Still, we're surrounded by water. So a lot of the things, like, you know, what's happening with the guns in America doesn't translate to Australia because two different fucking cultures, you know.
Yeah.
The borders, what's the good of putting up a wall around Australia? You know, like, we have a wall. We have a moat.
Yeah.
And one's pretty fucking big, you know.
Yeah.
A couple of them are pretty fucking big, so, you know, like, my point is, like, I think I lost track of my point. What were we talking about? Fucking multicultural. Yeah, all right. The problem with certain immigration, when it comes to immigration, you got to know who's coming in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I see a boat full of 20 to 30-year-old men who've left their family behind in Syria, it's like, I don't really want that guy here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I won't invite you into my house, I really don't want you in my country. You know, and again, that sounds completely fucking racist. But what's wrong with checking who these fucking people are?
Yeah. Why am I getting those guys instead of your whole family?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Why are we accepting, you know, only black people from Africa when there's also white people in Africa living in camps?
And getting killed off too,
Yeah.
currently.
Yeah. Have you seen the things from Lauren Southern?
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. Like, fucking some of those fucking stories, especially that one woman talking about her father.
Yeah, he got shot in the chair.
Yeah, oh, man. And she's like, it was that chair right there. And it's just like, fuck me, man. Like, fucking... And this is what these people are living through. I feel bad for the situation they're living in, but again, you can't You can't just open your door. We live in walled fucking houses for a reason, with locks on our doors for a reason, man. Because there's a bad element out there. And even though you feel bad
it's
for...
increasing too.
Yeah, you could feel bad for a homeless guy. Doesn't mean you're going to grab that homeless guy and say, I got somewhere for you to live.
Yeah.
Because you could wake up the next morning and every shit you have is gone. You know what I mean? It's the same mentality that I'm just extending to fucking illegal, might I add, immigration. Not legal immigration. I don't fuck if, you've worked 5 years to get fucking, and you brought your entire family over.
Yeah.
Fine. That's, perfectly fine by me. Some of our fucking best friends' grandparents came over here from fucking Greece and Italy and Hungary and fucking all over the fucking place. But they came here in order to escape worse shit that was happening there.
Yeah.
But I don't
or
see...
search a better life. Some of them did, yeah.
Yeah, well, to find a better life. And I just don't see that really happening these days.
Yeah.
These days, we're more... Bring them in, and they'll never learn English. They'll never learn the, customs. If I move to Japan, first thing I'm doing is I'm making sure I at least have a grasp of the language before I go there. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about moving there, but have a grasp of the language before I go there. Know the customs. Know, so I don't end up fucking, I don't know, doing something stupid. And it's like, hey, dude, it's 9 o'clock at night and you're drunk. You can't be drunk at 9 o'clock at night in Japan. I don't know if that's a rule. Just say it is. You'll learn the rules of the country you're going in, and you don't disobey those rules. What? I don't understand what the problem with that is. If you're going overseas, you don't fucking break the rules. That's why you see people in Thailand and they're like, we got done for heroin. Yeah, you're in Thailand, you idiot. Fucking hell. I feel bad for someone like Chappelle who probably didn't put that shit in her boogie board anyway. Yeah. Because honestly, she would have made more for that marijuana in Australia than she would have taken it to Indonesia.
Probably, yeah.
No, the price in Indonesia was a lot cheaper for marijuana. So for, let's say, an ounce, you pay 300.
She's probably made tons of fucking money just from interviews and shit too.
Yeah, but I would trade freedom for any amount of money that she made from interviews, from and especially being locked up in a Balinese jail. Balinese? What's that? I don't know. That sounded weird to say. Anyway, locked up in a Bali jail. Fucking. But I had teachers of mine. Oh, I love Bali. It was brilliant. I was like, I bet you didn't go boogie boarding. Yeah. I know.
She went.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. But there's a lot of weird shit surrounding that whole case. There's a documentary out all about Chappelle and how it looks at fucking evidence that the stuff was planted on her, and because of political bullshit going back between Indonesia and Australia. Again, it's not a very popular fucking opinion, but I'm going to fucking say it anyway. I don't understand why we constantly give fucking countries money. We just gave fucking $4 trillion to America. Yeah. We gave fucking... and that's for infrastructure and shit like that. So we might get paid back. You know what I mean? Because that's more of an investment. But when we give fucking Indonesia money, just... and we're not giving it, say... he built,
foreign aid.
Yeah, foreign aid, yeah. I think we should cut, this is going to say, again, this is going to sound horrible, but should cut foreign aid. If there are people in Australia, you go to the Northern Territory, man, some of those fucking, towns with just Aboriginals in them, they're worse than fucking some of these South African countries. Or some of these African countries. They are just shit. They have no drinkable water. Fucking their kids are always sick. They're fucking hundreds and hundreds of miles away from fucking any fucking hospital, or so they have to get the flying doctor service to get out there. Yeah, education is that fucking bullshit thing on the radio.
Sort of shit like that.
Yeah, they've banned alcohol in certain areas there because of fucking dry zones and stuff, which I don't really see working. Because they're drinking there's an Indian reservation over in America or is it Canada? One of the two. Where they don't speak normal. Anyway, they again, dry zone, no alcohol, within these city limits. They're drinking method. What's that fucking? You scrub your fucking. What is that shit called? It's that clear liquid.
It's metho, is it?
Is it metho? Yeah, it's the Canadian version of that. I can't think of the. Anyway, but yeah, they're drinking that because it's 80% alcohol. And they're dying. They're walking down the street and they're finding fucking cunts on the street. You wouldn't have that, if you ask me, if people could go to the pub and drink. You know, you'd have
Yeah.
problems with people leaving the pub at 3 in the morning like we do in Australia, but you wouldn't have the same problems of fucking people up drinking all day, you know, just drinking something that's bad for them, you know what I mean? If you can give them a clean, this again goes back to my drug argument, give them a clean substance and something you can sell, I honestly believe that the drug use will go down. And you want to save some money, then fucking start fucking selling the drugs and taxing the fucking things, you know, and that money should go to rehab for people who really fucking want it. There are places like the Netherlands that have done this, and it's been very fucking successful. And I don't see why in Western society that's supposed to be better than, you know, others, why we haven't adopted something like that. To me, it just seems like prohibition.
Instead of just throwing them in jail, I'm like, cool, problem solved.
There's a guy in Australia who smuggled marijuana in, and he got life sentence, and he's at one of the worst fucking shit ton of marijuana. Like he didn't bring in an ounce. He brought in a fucking lot of marijuana, and he's got life in one of the worst prisons in Australia. Really?
Yeah.
Really? Some American dude you can give life for marijuana? You know what I mean? If the person using the drug won't give up their dealer, maybe there's something in that. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's strictly out of fear. I think it's strictly, well, if I dob them in, where am I going to get my shit?
Yeah.
You know? If they're willing to take it, what's the point of fucking arresting them? You know? They're just going to fucking... Even if you arrest them and don't put them in jail but put them in rehab, they're just going to get out and go do it again.
You're also taking away, like, for some people, not everyone, you're taking away their only source of income as well.
Yeah. And you put a criminal record on someone, good luck trying to find a job.
Yeah,
so
it's criminal.
Someone gets out of fucking prison, you know, oh, you went to jail for what? You know, I wouldn't have got the jobs on the radio that I have if I had a criminal record.
Yeah.
At all. Because I had to work with the blind, you know, and there are other background checks because the stations are locked at 12 o'clock at night and you need the codes, you know, so they don't want any fucking criminal coming in at 12 o'clock at night, hijacking the radio station going, you know, I own this, bitch!
Yeah.
You know, I'm playing Sabbath till 12!
Everyone come smoke some weed with me.
Yeah, something, you know what I mean? Like, some crazy fucking, you know, guy breaking in and doing shit like that. So they have to make sure that the people there are responsible.
Yeah.
If I had of... I don't know, when I was young, because, you know, you were at the parties and shit like that, got drunk and fucking, let's go down the street, you know, and got caught, I would have been done. But my dad knew that fucking, he's like, he's going to drink. I know he's going to drink. So the best thing I can fucking possibly do is to allow him to drink in front of me, you know, and as long as I keep an eye on him, and when he gets too fucked up, I can make sure that he throws it all up and, you know, make sure he's good before... He's not going to kill himself. But if I make it illegal, or make it... Well, not, you know what I mean, illegal, like, you know, no alcohol in this house. Like a lot of my friends did, what your parents probably did as well. No alcohol in this house. Well, if he had done that, then I would have gone down the street. You know what I mean? I would have... You know, like, I don't know how many times, like, I could have drank at home. But I was walking to a friend's house and we're like, let's just duck up this alleyway and finish this bottle of grog. You know, and we just stayed in the alleyway for the rest of the night because you just finished the bottle of grog and you're like, Jesus, fuck. You know, 17 years old, you can't fucking move too well after drinking a bottle of whatever it is. Anyway, fucking, I don't know how many times that fucking happened. But that would have been more if I wasn't allowed to drink at home. Yeah. You make drugs illegal, people are still going to use them, but they're going to try and hide out from doing it, and then they're not going to seek help because, okay, who's going to walk into a cop station and say, oh, I'm a heroin addict, you know what I mean, can you help me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, mate, we can help you. Yeah. They're going to fucking, you know, take you out the back, they're going to charge you, and then fucking find out who your fucking dealer is, and they're going to start charging them. Well, you know, they're going to go after them. It's a lose-lose situation. But if it was decriminalised, then people could actually get the help that they deserve, and people who are on it might not be looked down upon so much. And then again, you can use drugs, get caught, cops like, oh well, he's fucked, let's just take him home instead of booking him or arresting him or, you know, anything like that. Boom, clean record, that fella can now fucking go get a job, you know what I mean? Whereas before, he's, you know, been busted because he can't, sorry, I don't know why I do that, but anyway, he's been busted, so we're locking him up, now he's got a criminal record, he can't get a job. So what's he going to do? He's going to fall back and now he's going to probably sell the shit. You know what I mean? So, and you're just repeating that fucking cycle over and over and over again. But anyway,
Even with all that, you still need to give them like the facilities to be able to get help.
yeah, but they have to want help.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You
there's
can't.
that too.
Help can't be forced upon anyone. Is exactly what I was talking about before with my analogy about someone who's so depressed or is so just lost in whatever grief that they're going through. They want to know you're there.
Yeah.
But they don't want you like, hey man, what can I do? What can I do?
Yeah,
You
like,
need something right now? Right now? What can I do?
Pull me out of
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they don't want to be pulled up. They want to make sure that when they reach out for a hand, the hand's there. You know what I mean? So you have to be there for them, but you can't. I remember I had a teacher because when I gave up pot, I went back to school because I missed out on one subject, so I needed to go back to get my Year 12 certificate. And so I went back, I did VCAL plus that Year 12 subject. So I've got my VCE,
Yeah.
and VCAL, both certificates, because, you know, I did them over about 3 years. First 2 years, 11 and 12, then going back, you know, after that, doing that one course in VCAL. And I went back just after quitting smoking weed and, you know, I wasn't drinking any alcohol. And I remember I was sitting in class one day and somebody asked me, like, you know, because they knew me from back in the day, and I was like, no, I don't smoke anymore. And you know, I was pretty open about it at the time, like, no, I don't smoke it. You know, I don't really like the shit, I don't like it around me, My attitude's completely changed since then.
Yeah.
But I was just like, no, I don't like it, And then the teacher's like, oh, can I talk to you after class? Yeah, sure. And she pulled me in after class, and she wanted me to go and talk to her nephew, I think it was.
Yeah.
Now thinking back to it, she seemed a bit more concerned than an auntie would be about a nephew, which makes me think she only said nephew because she really meant son and didn't want to tell you that her son was smoking pot.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's just like, what do I do? You know, all he does is sit around and smoke weed all day, you know. And I'm like, and I was like, well, his problem's not weed then. And she's like, what? I was like, well, if he was sitting around all day drinking alcohol, would you blame the alcohol? And she's like, well, no, he's obviously doing it for a reason. Well, yeah, he's sitting around, you know, bludgeon for a reason.
Yeah.
Have you asked him? Well, no. Has he broken up with a girl recently? She's like, well, I don't know. So you want me to go talk to your son, who's 17, so this 19-year-old's going to walk in there and go, hey, kid, you don't know me. You put that bong down right now.
Yeah.
You know why? Because I used to do it, and it's bad. You know what I mean? Like, just give me a cape and a mask, and I'll fucking swoop in through the window if you want, you know? Like, then I explained to her, I was like, I can talk to your son. You know, I can do I can do all that. You know, go talk to him, explain to him the situation that I went through, all of it. But if he doesn't want to quit, he's not going to quit. He's just going to go, yeah, sure, nice hearing from you, bye. Yeah. And then the second I leave, he's going to pull the bong out and have a cone. So, unless he wants to quit, he won't quit. Yeah. But I don't think that's the answer she was looking for, because she was pretty much asking me how I did it and all that, and I explained how I done it. But I was like, I did it because I chose to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he chooses not to,
go out and do
it. I had a desire to do it because I was bulimic at the time. I wasn't eating, you know, and I was using the pot to suppress my hunger. Because this is what a lot of people don't understand. They're like, oh, you smoke weed, you get the munchies. Well, that's not necessarily true. You can flick that, yeah. It's alright, you don't have to do that, just flick it on the floor, man. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, I know, it's tobacco. It gets it. Look at the desk. I've only had 2 cigarettes. Yeah, it looks like a fucking... oh, well, the mice can have a couple of cigarettes when they come back. But yeah, no. I just explained to her that fucking... unless the dude wants to quit, then it's no good me fucking talking to the boy. And anyway, again... See what I mean about getting off fucking topic? I don't even remember how we started with that.
Yeah, I don't know where we went from that either.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I think we covered fat shaming and fucking all this other shit. But we'll get to what... that's one of the articles I actually wanted to talk to you about. I think we'll throw... This is before we get into this, let's just end this political correct one right now. Former professor...
Shit out of the way.
Hey? Yeah, I just want to get through it. Throw it down on the floor so we can just pass it. We'll probably come back around to it in a bit, but former professor recounts her escape from political correctness. Professor who taught at California State University, East Bay, for over 20 years recently published a book, I have to get that, detailing how she escaped from the culture of political correctness on campus. Loretta Bruning says, aha, says her aha moment came when she realized she was lying to her students for fear of sounding right wing. This is exactly what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
And deciding to take a stand against ideological despotism. Okay, again, professors, man, like, you know, I'm stupid. Please not use big words. These fucking
Just
despotism.
feeling like you're going to get attacked.
Is that what it means? Okay. It just goes on to say, I saw facts that conflict with what the prevailing belief system. Conflicted with the prevailing belief system. I questioned myself because I saw that people who question progressive assertions are riddled, shunned, and attacked. That's exactly what's happening, though. And, you know, she goes on to say, through the institution, brewery, I don't know, it's a big fucking article, so I should probably read the entire fucking thing. But yeah, it just goes to show how she was a rural liberal professor, I'm guessing, and then just turned her back on fucking political correctness because she saw, well, I guess herself turning against her students by saying that they were right wing. Is that what it's pretty much getting at, or?
Well, she realized that she was lying to her students, so she was afraid that saying the right things, or I guess correct things,
Politically correct,
to her students would make her seem like she's a right-wing person.
Okay, right. But that's the thing, you see so many of these professors, again, Jordan Peterson, Gad Sad.
I love Gad Sad.
Oh yeah, Brett White. Oh, isn't he brilliant? The Gad file. I've been emailing him, trying to get him on the podcast. It's only going to be a Skype interview, but fuck, please, Gad Sad, if you're listening, come on the show, please. I love Gad Sad. I think he's absolutely brilliant. To the Gadfather, man, he's fucking awesome. Seriously, like, you know. Anyway, all these professors, Brett Weinstein. You know, he came out. You know, he was on Joe Rogan's podcast. Even his brother, Eric Weinstein. Weinstein. Sorry, they don't like being called Weinstein because of that other fuckhead from Hollywood. Yeah. And I remember they were on Rogan, and he's like, "It's Weinstein." Just make sure, like, that. No, you know, there's a difference. People aren't thinking you're talking to the brother of the other guy. But yeah. So what does the article go? What does the article actually say about the whole thing?
This is a quote from her by the looks of it. When I saw how the politically correct worldview was affecting my kids, I found the courage to take off the goggles and see life without it. It took time, but I learnt to meet my own needs instead of relying on political correctness to meet them for me. I want to help others take off the progressive goggles. That's fair enough.
Well, that's the thing, like, everyone's seeing the world such narrowly that if you disagree with them, then suddenly you're a hateful bigot. Yeah. No conversation can ever come out of that. No. Because who wants to really sit down and talk to a Nazi? Nobody wants to talk to sit down a Nazi. Exactly. See, that's my point. But if somebody, you know, like...
But no one wants to sit there and be, like, talked down to as well.
Yeah, but go to anybody's house who considers themselves a progressive and then just say, I think there's a problem in the Islam community. Just go to a party and say that.
Fucking ripped.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, fucking, you racist fucking... you know Islam's not a race, right? Like, you know,
yeah.
And, well, it's still bigoted to say... Oh, you people. You know, this whole podcast has really become me just fucking going against this anti-fucking political correct thing, but it's the only thing that I see that's the most damaging thing to society at the moment. You know?
It is. It's hugely damaging.
It's getting to the point where people can't even talk to their friends about situations that they're fucking, you know, they really... Listen, I think there's a real problem. Shut up, bigot. Oh, well, you know I'm not a bigot. You've known me 20 years. Shut the fuck up, you know. You're part of the fucking problem. You're part of the, you know, patriarchy. Okay. I'm part of the... I'm a guy. Okay, right, okay. You know, and... Yeah, I think we've covered this probably more than any other fucking topic we've got here, but last thoughts on what's going on, particularly with this professor.
Oh, I think she's like pretty fucking good for standing up for herself and being like, well, fuck all you guys, I'm going to talk about the shit that I need to talk about.
Well, that's exactly right.
I reckon that.
And giving trigger warnings at fucking college students, you know, they
Yeah.
give safe spaces
Very safe
to.
space, yeah.
Oh my
Have
god!
a fucking cry in the corner.
They've admitted that in these safe spaces they have videos of puppies playing with balls. Nice little piano music playing in the background. They give them Play-Doh and puzzles, and it's just like, is this kinder?
I was going to say, as a
No,
like
this is
Kinder,
for
or they
college, you know, college-age
people with
students.
disabilities or something.
Hey, that's being bigoted against anybody with a disability, there, mate.
Fuck you all. If that's what you think.
But anyway, fucking. All right, let's do a complete 180. Let's talk about. That's about the. We'll get into that in a minute. Let's talk about the fucking.
Buildings of the future.
Yes. Here's what the cities will look like in 30 years. This really interests me. And you, Miss Debbie fucking Downer, first fucking comment I got on this article when I posted it was like, don't worry, the whole fucking civilization's falling across anyway. We'd be lucky to hit 30 or something like that. I was like,
yeah.
That's why when
30 years or something?
that's why I thought, oh, I'm gonna get Dave on this show. I'm gonna make sure that he's not as as downtrodden, because I'd like to do an episode one day where it's not doom and gloom. You know what I mean?
Just
like,
happy shit.
just one day I'm gonna do I'm gonna call it the Safe Space podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're just gonna do all happy shit. Probably do that for episode 15. We'll have to wait and see. But fucking, here's a bit of a positive look on what's to come. And this fucking printer fucked up the entire thing.
She's a bit wonky.
Yeah. Oh shit! It's all over the place. It says here that it talks about the cities of the future, how skyscraper. Well, I guess they're talking about skyscrapers because it wouldn't be the normal, but like the normal regular buildings. But it says super tall buildings, so I guess skyscrapers will function as mini cities. And it goes on to say, where's the page? See, it's all
I
over.
can picture that. It's like what was it? The Dread movie.
The Dread.
Urban, and they have all the mega cities, but the mega cities are just basically giant skyscrapers.
I'm trying to find where it's all written. I'm sorry, folks, but I printed this off on a printer, and it's all it's all over the fucking place. But yeah, okay. Well, getting back to what we were saying before, it would be no different than the Enterprise. Again, using if you can't tell already, folks, I love fucking Star Trek, so you'll probably hear me mention it a few more times.
I'm more of a Stargate man.
Well, yeah, well, that can be cured, chemotherapy.
Ouch, mate.
Anyway, no, I don't mind Stargate, but the movie was good, and then the TV show just...
The movie was fucking awful.
What? The movie is Kurt Russell? No, fuck off, nah. Come on, man, Kurt Russell and David... What's his Spade?
Was David Spade?
David Spade. Yeah, as Daniel fucking... What's his name? Apparently, you can't mention Stargate, the TV show, around David Spade. Because he was looking forward... Because they were telling him that this thing was going to become a trilogy. That's why Daniel stayed on the planet at the end of the movie. Because they were planning on going back there and, blah, 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 blah. But the MGN sold the rights to... can't remember what studio brought it for the TV rights.
Yeah.
Once the rights were brought, the guy who made the movie, Roland Emmerich, couldn't do any more movies. Anyway, so he's had to wait till the fucking show finishes. 10 years later, he's like, yes, now I can do the movie. And they released Stargate Atlantis.
Universe.
Yeah, then Universe. And now they've got Stargate Origins, which is a web TV show, which is horrible. It's like...
I've actually watched it, so...
It's Stargate with Nazis. It's like, what? You couldn't think of anything, so it's like...
so it wasn't too bad. Yeah. Can't be too bad.
It's not Indiana Jones. It's really not Indiana Jones. And, like, even Indiana Jones is, fucking 40, 50 years old. But anyway, so... Does it actually say what's going to be in these smart buildings? Or can't we find it?
It sort of has a very simple overview.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They're going to be some super mega tall buildings with certain levels dedicated to certain things. Offices, places to work out, parks, recreational areas, all that sort of shit.
So I'm thinking majority of the people would work in the building that they lived in, yeah?
Yeah, they'll probably never leave the building too.
But if this is functional, wouldn't this just be the next step to space travel? Because once something like this would be established, then you could build a ship in and around the... You get what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Again, I'm going back to Star Trek. Like, you know, I just hope that one day we have an Enterprise. That's all I hope for. That one day, you know, we go into actual space. But
during our lifetimes, that'd be fucking amazing.
oh, they're fucking Earth, man. But I wouldn't go to Mars. This current Mars mission scares the fuck out of me. I wouldn't go. But anyway, what else is on the thing?
I've just gone back to the same one.
Yeah, okay.
Saying buildings will no longer have windows, will have virtual reality screens.
Well, like Back to the Future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2. Marty's Future Home was equipped with
Oh, they
a
actually...
window.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, right.
To it.
No windows?
Yeah.
What?
No more vitamin D. You're gonna be fucked. Everyone's gonna be like super white. Unless you're black, of course.
Yeah, well, haven't you seen the albino fucking black fellas?
Yeah.
No, they freak me out. No wonder they're getting killed over in Africa. They freak me out. I shouldn't say that. Sorry, folks. It was just... To any albino Africans that are listening, I apologise. What's that?
Speaking of vitamin D deficiencies,
Oh, fuck, okay.
the Ario lamp, so long, which was created based on research from NASA and Harvard, is a Wi-Fi connected lamp that mimics the sun's natural light to improve a user's health. So I guess that's one way of getting around having no windows.
Yeah, I'd see this this artificial thing. Look at what okay, there's two arguments to be made. When writing and reading first started becoming the norm, because it was you know, the bourgeoisie were mainly the ones that were reading and writing. But when everyone got access to the printing press and everyone had to write things down, there was a bit of propaganda going around at the time. Why would we write stuff down? If we were writing things down all the time, how could you remember anything? So they were figuring that if people were reading and writing all the time, that their memory would... And that's kind of true. You know, a little bit, like, you know, like... But anyway, but that was the propaganda for that. But it's the same propaganda that gets used over and over again for... And there is a bit of truth in this. Look at calculators. Like, when was the last time you had to work out something and you didn't grab your phone and go...
Oh, I do it all the time, actually.
Oh, well, work.
Well, yeah, work I have to do it because I don't want to sit in front of the thing going... So I just go, okay, 9 times fucking 4 is whatever, blah, 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 minus this. Cool, done.
Yeah, well, what my point is, like,
but I understand
on a mass scale, like, there are a lot of people who...
Just don't know basic maths.
Yeah. And I remember watching this stand-up comedian, and he was talking about fucking... my teacher at school told me one day that fucking, you know, that I couldn't use... He goes, you know, you can't use a calculator in class. He's like, and he goes, but why? It's very helpful. Well, you can't fucking, you know, in the future, you know, you'll need to work something out, and you won't have a calculator with you. And the dude just reaches in his pocket.
Put that phone, yeah.
Well, now I do. You know, it's true, man. What, we're going to get to the point... I sound like Alex Jones. Anyway, we're going to get to the point where...
Everything's a fucking conspiracy.
I love Alex Jones. Like, Franco runs him down all the time.
Crazy,
and I find myself defending him. You know what I mean? Even though I don't agree with, like...
Yeah.
So I agree with probably 75% of what he says. You know what I mean? And because later on it comes out, it's like, oh, he was actually true about the gay frogs. You know? Like, you know, everyone gives him shit about gay frogs, but that was just a chemical runoff from fucking people flushing their, you know...
some shit down the toilet.
Their birth control pills and crap like that, you know, getting flushed down. There's a specific drug that was getting dumped into this river that was causing the frogs to, you know, get confused with their sexuality because they were because frogs can switch from male to female.
Okay.
If there's not enough...
I assume it's that kind of frog, wouldn't it?
Hey?
Just to be that kind of specific frog that does that?
Well, it just makes me look at Kermit a whole new fucking way. But anyway, when there's not enough males in or not enough females around, say in a given environment, a little pond or something like that, then they will switch sex. It's one of the only fucking species that can just switch sex, and it's all environmental because they need to breed. You know, we need to keep this fucking shit going. So in order to do that, they'll switch sex. Now, because of the chemicals that they were dumping into the water, it was confusing the frogs, and the frogs weren't switching sex, but they were still giving off female hormones, so the males were coming over and fucking them. You know, so gay frogs.
Maybe that's what's happening in society right now.
We are becoming ultra fucking feminized, man. You know.
And just
But
beyond
you've just got to
fucking
embrace
stupid.
you just got to embrace your feminine, feminine side. Well, what about embracing your masculine side? That's toxic.
What's his name? Alex Watson, whatever it is.
Oh, Paul Joseph Watson.
Paul Joseph Watson.
Yeah.
I watched a thing today about soy boys.
Oh, I love that. That all started as a
That's
joke.
fucking great.
Yeah, but that all started from Owen Benjamin. Like Owen Benjamin, he plays the piano, so he does songs and stuff like that during his stand up, and he brought out this song, Soy Boy song, and it's fucking hilarious. But it all came from that, like the whole soy boy thing. Then all these people on the left started, oh my god, they're saying that soy's bad for you and it turns you into a feminine da-da-da-da. And they started taking it serious. So people on the right were like, this is fucking hilarious. So they started giving more shit back onto the left by going, oh no, it's true. But it all just started from some fucking stand-up comedian just making fun of the fucking, article that he read one day, and it just blew up out of proportion. But yeah, what were you saying about Paul Joseph Watson, about the soy boy?
Yeah, just like how everyone's, like a lot of men just come basically pansies and little bitches, really.
What's wrong with being a dude? You know what I mean? Like fucking. I've never been that masculine dude either. I've never been that guy that's like, let's go hunting, go kill something. I've never even.
Kills my bear.
Yeah, I've never been. I hate camping, and it's just like fucking bugs. You know what I mean? Like, why are we here? You mean I have to shit in a hole? What? Fucking, I hate this. What are we doing here? The only time I ever liked camping is when I went with me mates, and we were that fucking pissed the entire time. I don't even know if we had fun.
Yeah.
It could have been miserable most of the time, but we were drunk, so it didn't fucking matter. But I don't go hunting. I'm not that sports guy. You know what I mean? I've never asked a girlfriend to make me a sandwich.
Yeah.
I make my own fucking food, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might fuck it up. You might not know how to cook. Or you can't say that. That's sexist. So saying a woman should cook me a sandwich is sexist, but saying that I'd prefer to cook my own sandwich because she might not know how to make my specific one, but that's sexist too. So you can't fucking win, man. Men should be more feminine, but not, but women shouldn't be more masculine because of toxic masculinity. That's another fucking phrase that really fucking pisses me off. Toxic masculinity.
That's like a whole fucking another can of worms.
Yeah, well, okay, we won't get into that, but
I was gonna say I could say so much shit.
Oh well, no, if you want, man, we can cover
We'll
it.
say that for another time.
Not a problem at all. Oh fuck, we've been going fucking almost. We've got 2.5 hours.
Bam.
We've got one last article. I don't know if you want to cover this or not, but I don't know what your stance is on it. With what's
the guns guy, yeah?
Yeah, this is what's happening over in America. I've got a few articles actually about it. What's happening over in America at the moment? They're all cracking down on the AR-15, all semi-automatics and stuff, shit like that. But if you look at the statistics, the majority of the towns that have fucking problems with guns, it's all the towns that have the most gun laws, like Chicago, New York.
Yeah.
Louisiana, and there's a fourth one. Now, I don't know exactly how true this is. I'm going to have to do my own research. I'm planning on doing a whole single podcast just about guns, you know what I mean? I want to do a mini doco just to debunk this whole Australian gun law thing, because they always use in Australia as an example.
Yeah, everyone's like, fucking Australia knows how to do gun law properly.
We had 3. There were 3 fucking mass shootings back then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what they're doing? You know what they're doing now? They're stabbing people.
Yes.
And
they're on the fucking rise.
They're setting fire. You know what I mean? And one of them was a guy who got on top of a bell tower and started firing. Any other mass shooting that's ever happened has been fucking some guy. What's wrong? Huh? Oh.
Sorry, I got you.
There's another one not out there.
Probably. I can't find it.
Oh, could you bring that back in a bit?
Just throw it at him. It'll right.
Yeah, throw it through the wall. No. Oh, it's alright, don't worry. We're almost done anyway, it's all good. Anyway, fucking, but, I don't know, I'm gonna have to do my own research about this, so I could be putting across fake news. But, apparently,
lies.
hey, yeah.
Spreading lies, man.
If you take away like New York, Chicago, Illinois, Mardi Gras, where they have Mardi Gras, fucking Louisiana,
Louisiana, okay.
and there's one other state. If you take away them, like America's like second
Texas
highest
or
of.
something?
No, it's not Texas. Well, anyway, it's the second highest fucking gun rates in the world, right?
Yeah.
With those statistics, you take those four towns out, and it drops to number 4 of the most safest. Or, you know what I mean? It goes right down to the bottom. Just 4. Those 4 towns have the most fucking restriction on guns, and that's what fucking pisses me off. And it goes back to what we were saying before. We're not as same as America. We're different cultures. What works
We're
for
both Western societies, but we both operate differently.
Well, exactly. We didn't have mass shootings like America has.
Yeah.
You know, nor do we have fucking countries to either side of us, like right on the borders. Like we have New Zealand, but in order for the, New Zealanders to get over
here,
bro.
Yeah.
Bro, my sheep, bro.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I shouldn't do that. What was that fucking movie? Killer Sheep, Black Sheep. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
Set in New Zealand by a bunch of killer sheep, and fucking one of my favorite ones I ever heard in this fucking movie. They're running through this paddock and they're getting chased by these killer sheep, and fucking one of them turns around and she's like, "You know what? Fuck these goddamn sheep!" And so the Kiwi runs past. "No time, bro." I just fucking lost my shit. What I find funny is like England thinks Australia fucks sheep, Australia thinks New Zealand fucks sheep, and New Zealanders think fucking English fuck sheep. So it just does this fucking whole... Yeah. Anyway, where was I going? Oh, fucking... But we're so different. We don't have cartels in New Zealand, right? The worst we have to worry about is the fucking Islamic, what's happening over in fucking Indonesia when it comes to the Wahhabists that are, starting up over there. That's pretty much what we have to worry about.
Taken over, haven't they?
Yeah, like if you're going to become a female cop there, they have the 2-finger test.
Yeah.
Like everyone's like every time I get on a raid, ranted about fucking Islam, they're always like, "Well, what about Indonesia?" What, where they fucking ask the female cops to lay out on a table so they can have a 2-finger test to test if they're virgins or not? What the fuck does that mean? No matter if you're a cop, you know what I mean? Could you imagine if we were doing that in Australia? Oh, sexist!
Everyone will lose their shit.
You know what? If you did everything that fucking Islam did, and just said it wasn't Islam, and just said it was a white guy, fucking the feminists will come out of the brushworks with their fucking torches and
and shit.
Yeah, and then suddenly fucking you're like, "Oh no, sorry, it wasn't a white guy, it was Islam." And they'll fucking slink away because they're too fucking afraid. Because it's almost like the LGBT community, right? Who've expanded so much.
That has more fucking letters in it now the other day.
Yeah, there's 2 L's. LLQQ.
There's like an I and a G or something. Oh, the G's are in there.
Yeah,
There's like an I and
LGB2H2O. I don't fucking know, man. Maybe some people identify as water. I don't know. Maybe they're gonna start including them. I don't fucking know, man. It's just getting so fucking long that I made a joke to a fucking friend of mine the other day. She's a lesbian, and I don't think she took it too well. But and she was trying to defend the position, but I don't think she could because I was just like, I just don't think they're very inclusive. What are you talking about? It's LGB, and she's listing all the pronouns that they use, and I just said, well, where's the S? Huh? Well, you're including everyone, and eventually you're going to incorporate everyone.
Yeah.
But straight people. Not very inclusive, if you ask me. But then she found herself on that other side of the argument.
Yeah.
And she just didn't know what to say. She's just like, well, it's our own thing. You know what I mean? I was like, no, you say you guys are inclusive. Where's the yes?
Yeah.
You're not being very... Anyway, that's neither here nor there. See what I mean about getting off fucking topic. But the countries are so fucking different. We had... If you exclude, when it comes to Australia, mass shootings, a majority of the mass shootings in Australia was some nut going up and shooting up his family.
Yeah.
That was a majority of them. Now, they're not shooting up their family. They're just setting fire to the fucking building that their family are in.
Yeah.
Or they're stabbing them to death,
Them to death or something. Clubbing them.
Yeah, they're doing something like that. That hasn't decreased at all. Just the use of guns. John Howard gets on TV, and was like, "There's been a 75%, reduction in gun crime." What he's also talking about is suicide. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be included, right? Suicide should not be included. And another difference in America, gun violence, if that's going to be included, it's when the gun is fired. When the gun's fired, that's gun violence. If I rob a store in Australia, but I've used the gun to rob the store, even though I haven't fired it, that's still gun violence. You understand?
Yeah.
So someone could rob a store in America and not fire the gun. That's not gun violence, so it doesn't get added to their statistics.
Yeah.
And it's also like the mass shoot. They said 18 mass shootings last year in 2017. Well, one of them was an ROTC student, the Army cadets in the school. Had a real bullet in his gun instead of a blank. It accidentally went off, went through the wall, or went through a window into a wall. School shooting. They added that as a statistic of school shooting. Another one was the guy who was in the car park at 9 o'clock at night and blew his brains out. Oh, no, it was in a car park at an abandoned school and blew his brains out. School shooting. Even though the school had been closed down for 8 months. Another fucking thing, you had 8 shots reportedly fired from a fucking school car park at 8 o'clock at night when no students or teachers were around. So that's 3 of the fucking 18 fucking school shootings that you included. Now, we have locks on hospitals, old folks' homes. Yeah. We send guards to guard money, but we won't do that for kids. We won't put automatic locks on the doors. So, all right, everyone in? Chick. Yeah. Security guard with a gun. He guards those doors. Yep, all right, that's tight. Because usually, it's not like some kid in class has the gun on him, stands up and starts shooting. No, he gets to school late because he knows that everyone's there. Then he starts to, that's what the Columbine kids done. That's what they all did. They don't go to class with the guns. They walk into the school, and half the time they're just shooting randomly. Now the problem comes down to we're too busy protecting other things, but we won't use guns to protect. We have armed security protect money, but not children. You know what I mean? I don't see the fucking logic in that. Tell me, what's your opinion? And we'll cover the whole situation in America, AR-15s, the whole bit. But just tell me what you from what I've just
fucking
said.
Insane.
yeah.
It is literally fucking insane. I disagree with a lot of things, and I don't agree with a lot of other things.
Okay.
Oh, actually, it's the same thing, isn't it?
You agree with some and not others.
Half and half sort of thing.
Right.
I do understand that there should be better gun laws for things. Like going into a place and getting a gun within an hour. That's really unreasonable.
Well, that's not true. You're talking about that video, right, of the 17-year-old?
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah. That's not true. That's edited.
Yeah.
What happened was, if you watch the full fucking video, he went in there, asked for the gun. He had to sit there for fucking hours signing papers, then come back 2 days later to get the gun.
Oh, okay.
So that video is edited.
Yeah.
That he doesn't sign any papers. He just gets the gun and walks out. And then someone's like, well, hang on a second. And some editor was watching the video going, no, I saw a cut there. What the fuck's that? You edited this video. And then they had to come out and say, no, you can't get it. So that whole gun show loophole, that's a myth. It's as difficult to get a gun through a fucking gun show than it is to get one any other way. But anyway, sorry, keep going.
But things like the caliber of gun you can get too. That should obviously be restricted as well. I don't really understand why you'd be walking around with a machine gun. But
well, listen, dude, if I'm hunting, I want a high caliber gun because the last thing I want is to shoot a fucking deer and that fucking deer run off into the scrub. It takes hours to find and it bleeds out to death. I'd rather fucking shoot the thing and have it die on the spot.
That's understandable.
Yeah, have it die on the spot.
You can get bolt actions that do that. But there's no reason to have a gun and just go bam at it.
Yeah, but a bolt action, right, can easily enough be adjusted to an AR-15. It's just a few minor adjustments, man. Where the bolt action is, that comes off and another thing attaches onto the top.
Smashes it in,
honestly, it's just the fucking things just attach on, and that's where bump stocks get put in, and blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
All this shit just gets put onto the gun, so fucking then you have a semi-automatic and shit like that. You can do. What's wrong? Hey, look at that.
It was returned.
Back to 5.
All right. Oh, pardon me. Anyway, so you have like AR-15s and stuff like that. I could get a handgun. Now, it's completely illegal to do this, but you can alter it, get a bigger size magazine, strap it
massive
on.
magazine.
You've seen it. And it fires like a machine gun.
Yeah.
Well,
Not
you know,
as accurate, but like it fucking
well,
does the job.
well, AR-15 is not very accurate. That's why they don't use it in war.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they was it AK-47s more
Yes.
ones that they use. You know, it's actually still being used to this. Well, more modified version of the AK-47, but
Still pretty popular, yeah.
But that's the thing, dude. I don't think it's the guns that's the problem. You know, it's going to sound like
It
a
is more
tired
the people,
analogy.
but-
Are you blaming the trucks? You know what I mean? When someone does something stupid? Are you blaming the fire when someone locks the doors with their family there and burns the place to the ground? You're being very, like, people are being very, not you, you know, people are being very selective because guns, especially AR-15s, they look scary.
Yeah.
And that's really all it is. It looks scary, you know. But any gun, any handgun can be technically a handgun can be modified. Well, it is technically a semi-automatic because it can fire X depends on how good you are.
Yeah.
You know, any gun put into the right hands can become fucking
Worse
in a
off,
sense
yeah.
semi-automatic because a semi-automatic is what more than 6 bullets fired in a short period of time.
I can't remember what the figures are anymore.
Well, yeah.
It's been a long time since it looked like
Fully
guns.
automatic guns are illegal in America. It's
Yeah.
been illegal for a long time.
Like 40 years or something?
Yeah, something like that. Now you can only get semi-automatics. That's what they're coming after now.
Yeah.
After that, it's just going to be handguns. You know what I mean? The problem is when you ban one, you start moving on to the next. You know what I mean? Like the left were going on at the last shooting about bump stocks and how they needed to, you know, get rid of bump stocks.
Oh, yeah.
Those
The one
are-
that, like, makes you go back sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they banned them, right?
Yeah.
But the problem was that didn't stop the fucking gun from functioning. Like, you know what I mean? So what's
Yeah.
going to happen is like Trump's just came out and said, "All right, we're banning the bump stocks." They're going to come around and go, "But this doesn't do anything." Well, we fucking told you that fucking last time you
Yeah.
were fucking complaining about it. But this is what you wanted. We said, "All right, well, let's ban bump stocks." Okay, yes. Then you did your research and you found out what the right was telling you, or the NRA or whoever's, you know. No, that doesn't necessarily work the way you think it does.
Yeah.
You know, and then they find out, then they're back to square one. Another thing that really pisses me off are these people who complain about thoughts and prayers. You know, when somebody dies, what's the fucking first thing you do? You ring the parents. Okay, you know,
say
you
my condolences
go up
and
to the
shit
person's
like
house. Yeah, condolences. That's thoughts and prayers. That's all you're doing. Condolences to the. I can't do anything sitting back here in Australia. All I can do is say, "Oh fuck, you know, that's fucking terrible. I feel bad." Listen,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to fucking go against these kids, right? But I feel that they're being used. You know what I mean? They've been through a traumatic experience and now they're being pushed out in front of the cameras. And it's only 4 students, only the 4 main students.
Yeah.
They're not talking to the ROTC students, like the ones that actually like guns. They're not talking about the other 5,000 students that went to that school. It's only those 4. Why those 4? Because those 4 are anti-gun. You know what I mean? Maybe their parents are anti-gun. I think they're being used. You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to attack the kid. I'm not saying fucking crisis act or anything like that. But they're being used for a political fucking witch
Trying
hunt.
to push something onto them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And by criticising it, you're like, "Oh, what? You're going after the kids?" No, I'm going after the fact that you're using these kids to fucking push your own political agenda.
Yeah.
Now, if I brought a bunch of kids out and took them to a range and said, "Oh, let's go fucking shoot some guns," and I filmed it and I put it on the podcast, and I could, get, people could come to me with the same fucking argument. "Oh, you're just using those kids to push your pro-gun argument." Yeah, maybe. But yet you'll have to accept that if I'm doing that, then you're doing the same thing
Yeah.
with the
somebody else
anti-gun
could be doing
movement.
something the other way.
And it's even more powerful because kids are up there crying, you know what I mean? They're attacking the head of the NRA, calling her a murderer. What
Yeah.
the fuck did she do?
She's done shit.
She's the
I've seen
head of
that-
a
I've seen
fucking
that argument.
organisation.
Yeah, it's so dope.
What,
Oh,
the...
dopey, sorry.
Dopey, okay, yeah. For a second I was just
Put
like...
the
oh.
egg in that letter.
Yeah, no, you're right. But anyway, sorry,
Yeah.
you go... what's your thoughts? You said there are things you didn't agree with. That's what I really want to get down to here. Like, maybe we can find... It's like, I want to find some uncommon ground
Yeah.
for this podcast. If we're not arguing, we're not getting the views. If we don't get the views, then it's no.
Oh,
Anyway, yeah, sorry, keep going.
shit, I gotta pick up where I was before.
What?
Fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
Well, you said you had pros and cons, and then we we're talking about the how many
So
bullets,
with, like
the caliber of the gun. I think you were talking about.
caliber guns and stuff like
Sorry.
that. Anyway, man, like, and the type of bullets and shit you can get. Obviously,
Mm.
some bullets are illegal because of obvious reasons and shit like that.
Yeah.
Just sort of, I guess, restrict who you can sell them to and who you can't.
Well, that's already it's what, a psychological test or something.
Psychological test, but
Mm.
also like obviously persons in obviously a hunter, somebody who obviously goes out and kills like I don't know gators or whatever for a fucking living.
Yeah.
They obviously want something strong enough to kill the croc.
Yeah. But
Like, selling them to them should be okay. You wouldn't go sell like some insanely good bullet to your everyday person.
well, if you use the latest shooting as an analogy, his parents died. His father died a year before the shooting, and his mother died 8 months prior to the shooting. He was on all these psychotropic drugs, which a lot of people are saying, hey, every mass shooter's been on psychotropic drugs. It's like, well, yeah, because they're fucked up, man. Of course,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Maybe we should put restrictions on people who are on psychotropic drugs owning guns. Are you on a psychotropic? Sorry, dude. Well, it's only antidepressant. Yeah, well, until you get off that shit, we can't give you a gun.
Yeah,
But the thing is,
your medication taken into account.
there's alright. He owned guns. He was reported to the police 13 times. Cops did nothing, even though he threatened to shoot his neighbor. He actually shot at his neighbor's pigs and chickens. If the cops had got involved then, he would have had a criminal record. One mark
Yeah.
against his criminal record, he would not have been able to own those guns. And the cops are coming out and saying, well, we don't blame this or that. We blame the shooter. No, motherfucker, I blame you. You're the fucking sheriff in that town. It was your
Yeah.
fucking job
If you had take
to
a
look
proactive
after that
stance about
school.
it in the first place, that would probably never happen.
Well, yeah. If he had 13 times, people called the cops
Yeah.
on him. People called... This is just the local cops. People called the FBI about him. And they transferred it to Miami. And Miami headquarters, you know what they did? Apparently he posted on YouTube saying that he was going to become a qualified school shooter. And he posted under his own name, by the way. And guess who they went to? They didn't go to his house. They went to the guy who run the YouTube channel's house. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, who's this guy posting on your video? Well, fuck would I know, man? I'm the guy that rang you.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I rang you about this shit. Like, you know, and you're asking me, you know. They went to him twice. So they knew there was something up with this guy. The cops knew there was something up with this guy. While the shooting was happening, police officers from another county arrived like half an hour late to find 4 officers along with the
officers
security guard.
doing
Well, okay,
nothing.
3. I think it was 3 officers and the security guard, but they're all like.
I thought
the
it was 4 officers. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure
remember.
one of them was the security guard that worked at the school.
Okay.
Right? Cowering out the front with their guns out,
Yeah.
not willing to go in the building. Now, I understand people in wartime, like war environments, going, "Oh fuck, what am I doing here?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And cowering down. Like Tim Kennedy posted something, and he's like, "You cunts have never been to war. What the fuck do you know about fucking when something's happening?" And all these people saying, "I'd go in and I'd do this." No, you wouldn't.
No, you won't.
But at the same time, I didn't sign up for that job. You know what I mean? Like, I work on the radio. You know, I didn't deliberately sign up to protect a school.
Yeah.
But these guys did, and they failed at their duty.
Yeah.
It is their fucking fault, along with the fucking shooter, along with the FBI, who didn't do a goddamn thing to stop this guy from
Yeah,
fucking
I watched the-
doing what he did.
Video by, I think it was Ben Shapiro.
Mm.
It's like 40 minutes long or something,
Mm-hmm.
and he just talks about like those 4 cops and like how everything just failed.
I downloaded that. I haven't watched it yet. I've got it on my computer in there. Yeah, I watch Shapiro show all the fucking time, man. I'm not even a conservative, but I'm like, I agree
Yeah.
with this guy. But anyway, sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he explains it really thoroughly, like why they have failed.
Mm-hmm.
Like why didn't they do something? All this sort of stuff like that. He goes on it for like a long time.
See, at times I wish this show was a bit more like Shapiro. Like, you know, like I listen to him and I'm just like, oh, he's fucking nailing it. Then I listen
He's
to
a
my own.
smart guy,
Yeah, I know. But then I listen to my own and it just sounds like a bunch of chooks. You know, just clucking around. It's like, this is terrible. You know, but oh well, this is what it is. Like fucking, there's more likes and dislikes, so I guess I'm doing something right. But at the same time, and like I compare the two, and you can't help it. You know, two podcasts, so you try and compare. And it's like, where am I going wrong? But anyway,
you can't compare yourself to this guy who's obviously been like
he's been doing it for a
very long time.
Yeah,
political stuff like that.
Yeah, I understand, but at the same time,
Two dudes just chatting shit.
But it's still it's a lot of people are like fucking. They see a high bar set and they're like, fuck that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm changing career.
I'm never gonna get to that.
And I'm like, I can fucking do it. Yeah, I reckon I could do it. You know that.
Yeah.
I think that's my problem. Like I see the high bar. No, I can do it. And a lot of times, clunk. Nope, didn't do it. You know. But I get back and I come back around and I try and jump it again.
No, well, that goes back to like the thing we're talking about, like personal health sort of thing. Like, sort of get stuck in that rut, and you obviously see like, oh, well, I want to get to there. So then you get out of it.
Yeah.
And then you just keep going.
You just keep jumping, man.
Going, yeah.
Yeah. You just
you've gone out of hell, and now you want to keep going.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. But even if you just raise yourself that little bit at a time, like a staircase, man, you just slowly bridge yourself from. It's almost like people always talk, and this I got from Jordan Peterson, and I know anybody who listens to the podcast all the time knows I've already told this story, but I'm going to tell it again. Jordan Peterson talks about fucking trying to plan time with your family.
Yeah.
And he's like, the problem a lot of people make is that they work fucking hard, like, you know, 12 to 18 hours a day in some cases, never spend any time with their family in order to get 2 weeks. By the time they get to that 2 weeks, that 2 week holiday break, they're so fucking exhausted that they're just like, I can't do this. You know what I mean? And they're on the beach of Hawaii, their kids are running around, and all they want to do is sleep. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going back to the hotel room, man. I'm fucking, you know, I've been working 18 hours a day for the last 2 years, man. I need some fucking sleep. But what he, you know, recommended, and I think it's really good for whatever you're trying to apply yourself, whether it's losing weight. For me, I love to write stories, but fucking I get distracted, especially video games lately. I don't know why. I usually hate video games, but the graphics have gotten so good, and the storyline's actually improved. It's not just Mario going, me, you know, jumping across the screen. It's an actual plot, and it sounds like a movie. So I'm really digging that, like the Deadpool game, the South Park game, the two of my favorite fucking games, because it's just funny, you know. And I couldn't believe how fucking funny they were. But in order to write stories and stuff and get them finished, I figured give yourself an hour a day. And this applies to what I was saying about your family as well. And this is what Jordan Peterson was saying. Get that hour done. You know what I mean? And that hour can just be simply fucking making tea, you know, eating tea and washing up.
Yeah.
But just that hour. Or even just sitting around the table having, you know, you and your wife having a glass of wine and your kids are sitting there. What was your day like, son? You know, what was, you know, oh, dad, fucking blah, 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 blah. But to get that hour, you get that hour once a day. That's 7 hours a week. And we did the math, and it turns out our entire year, that's 3 months. Right? So that's 3 months that you get to spend with your family every day. And that's everyone's always, I just need to save up for this holiday, man. As soon as I save up for this holiday, everything will be good. No, you're stressing yourself out. You're yelling at your kids. You know, and he uses another example, like trying to put your kid to bed. Well, how long does it take? Well, about 1.5 to 3 hours. So you spend 1.5 to 3 hours every single day yelling at your son. Is he going to respect you? You know what I mean? Yeah. You're yelling at him all the time. So even if you do go to the Bahamas and fucking have a great fucking holiday, doesn't mean shit, because you get back and he has to go to bed and you're yelling at him again. Yeah. You know what I mean?
The cycle starts again. Yeah,
the cycle starts again. So if you really want to improve yourself, it's about finding that hour, you know, that one thing. And whatever that is, you know, if it's spending more time with your family, well, I don't have a wife or kids, so I don't have to worry about, you know, that sort of thing. But if it's doing that, if it's fucking, in my case, writing, because, you know, I've got the book coming out, hopefully next year or so. I said that about a year ago, and still there. But anyway, you know, just using that hour to, you know, get shit done, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever you want to do. And I think the problem with a lot of people is they plan ahead, and when that thing doesn't happen, everything else just collapses because they're under that much pressure.
Yeah.
You get, I can't even, where do we start with that? How do we get there? Fuck. Again, see what I mean? It's fucking, it happens all the time. But I re-listened to the podcast and I see how we got there, because you follow along with the conversation.
But
I'm going to need someone who just sits here, you know, just off to the thing. You were talking about there. Well, how did we get there?
Big sign like, get back to this.
Yeah. But alright, getting back to the guns. Now, they keep saying that fucking how safe Australia is. Well, just recently over in Queensland, police seized up to 900 firearms.
Yeah.
9 fucking. Oh, that's
the one after. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. I think there's another one there. It's also one I want to.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that's another.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right. 900. Close to 900 weapons have been seized in Queensland this month as a police attempt to reduce the number of illegal firearms and related offences. What does that mean? So what, knives and shit? It just says related offences. I'm guessing ammo, maybe.
Possibly.
Like fucking scopes or something.
I'd assume knives and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people have a lot of illegal sort of shit.
But people always use Australia as the perfect example. We had one really bad mass shooting, which was Tasmania, which is, you know, here comes a conspiracy theorist in me. It's suspicious as fuck. You know what I mean?
Bring it, mate. Bring it.
How he fucking got off as many shots as he did. You know, the guy was mentally fucking ill. The gun that he used. Again, this is all going into my gun video. I haven't really I think it's just called Gun Myths Debunked. I think that's just the working title that I got right now. But I'm putting it all into that video. So if anybody has any suggestions, put it into the comments below. So what does it say about what they've seized? Just that they've got 900 guns or...
Yeah, 800 and something guns.
Well, what happened...
869 weapons.
But we live in Australia. There are no guns in Australia. And have you seen the picture of what the guns were?
Yeah, they're all...
fucking semi-automatic. Or bolt action at least.
Yeah, most of them look like crappy bolt actions and 1 or 2 pistols in there.
See, the gun laws in Australia didn't stop that fucking dickhead taking over that coffee shop a couple of years ago.
Oh, the Lint place?
Yeah.
Truckle place?
Yeah, that's the one. The one that was, you know, on the news for fucking 2 weeks because it happened right across the street. Right across the road. So they're like, fuck, okay. I remember watching live TV when that girl when they raided the place, and one of the news anchors were reading who were the victims, and there were 2, both shot by cops going in.
Alright.
Yeah, there were 3 victims. One was the fucking shooter, and the other 2, more and more likely, were shot by the cops coming in because he had a shotgun and they weren't shot by a shotgun.
I remember actually.
And so the cop said, "Oh, he got shot by a gun that they didn't find."
Yeah.
Or was it that fucking you busted in a scenario with a bunch of people screaming, probably people running, you know, frantic, you didn't know what the fuck's going on, and you accidentally fired thinking you were firing at the suspect and it turned out to be one of the hostages. It happens. Like, it's a sad fucking scenario, but that's what fucking happens in a hostage fucking crisis. And we even made fun of it at the time that the guy fucking asked for he asked for a flag. He hung a flag up in the window saying ISIS. But as he's watching the news, real experts on ISIS were coming forward and going, well, the news is saying he's holding up an ISIS flag. That's not an ISIS flag. That's actually a Bakaram, I think it was, flag. You know, it has nothing to do... Well, you know, it is like a terrorist organisation, but it's not fucking ISIS.
With them, yeah.
It's not with ISIS. And then you know what his demands were? Can I have an ISIS flag?
I was going to say, yeah.
And then he asked for an ISIS flag, fucking idiot. But it didn't stop that from happening.
Yeah.
You know, the gun laws in Australia didn't stop that from happening. It didn't stop... you met Paddy?
Yeah.
Didn't stop his girlfriend, my little sister, not technically, but, you know, from having a shotgun pointed at her face because she was babysitting some kids one night, and the father, who, you know, wasn't allowed to see him, figured, the wife's out on a date, so the kids are there with someone, and went there with a shotgun and held it to her fucking face. You know, I don't know how she stood her fucking ground though, and fucking said, no, you can't come in. Didn't, the gun laws didn't stop that fucking shit from happening. You hear about fucking people getting, shot all the fucking time. A friend of mine had to get on the floor she lives in Melbourne, had to get on the floor because gunshots were being fired.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we keep getting held up on this pedestal of a perfect fucking country. We're not, man. We're more of a victim to guns than anywhere in the world. The only difference is we're so spread out, that our cities are like, I think the population of Melbourne is like fucking the population of the smallest city in America. You know what I mean?
Insane,
and like we're like 1/8 or 1/8 of fucking the population of America.
We're only like
so
22 million or something.
Yeah, we're tiny, man. Like when it comes to population, so that makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Culture makes a fucking big difference.
So what's America, like 300 million or something?
Yeah, the only comparison when it comes to America you can make is Sweden. You know what I mean? It's semi-westernized. It's still got the old European. It's still got the European model and stuff like that. Although Sweden has a lot of its problems, especially its immigration at the moment.
So does Italy as well, actually.
But they have no fucking mass shootings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they have AR-15s everywhere. There are bunkers in Sweden. Is it Sweden or not? I think it's Sweden. I'll double check and put the video. I'll put the disclaimer up if I get this wrong. But I think it's Sweden. They have bunkers full of fucking weapons just in case they're invaded.
Yeah.
Because during World War II and shit like that, Sweden's like, no, we're not involved. But they knew that shit doesn't last for. But no, staying out of a fight doesn't last forever, especially if one side wins and wants to keep going. Like if the Nazis had won World War II, they would have eventually pushed into Switzerland. They
were pushed into fucking everywhere.
They would have got everywhere, yeah, of course. So they had that just in case because they'd been invaded before. The Vikings and countless fucking other people fucking came in and fucking stole their women and
shit,
So they fucking said, we're going to set up fucking bunkers. People who live in this town have access to those bunkers.
Yeah.
You can, if you were a citizen of Switzerland, well, you couldn't because you'd have dual citizenship, so you wouldn't have access to it. But your kid, you were born there, your kids would. So your kids would. They'd be able to go to bunkers full of weapons and get whatever they want. You know what I mean? And leave and walk out with them. They just sign a piece of paper. All right, you've got the AR-15, the serial number, All right, bye. If that's using a crime and then they've got the fucking serial number, well, Ted Smith took that off last week. Well, that was used to rob a bank. Well, go grab Ted Smith.
Who
they have it. Hey.
You know who to look for, basically.
Well, yeah, exactly. They have as many guns as America, but they train their people how to use it. That's the problem with the Americans. They're split right down the center. To the half that are terrified of guns and want them all gone, to the other half that fucking want, fucking stricter, not gun laws, but wants everyone to have guns. And they're the ones that are saying arm the teachers and da-da-da-da-da. Well, then you've got a certain
Israel, whatever it is.
Israel were having fucking attacks from Palestine all the time. Terrorists were going into schools, shooting up fucking kids. So they arm the teachers. Now I'm not 100% sure if we should be maybe arm the teachers with a handgun or something like that. But there still needs to be security.
Yeah.
But then you use the example, that that school in Florida had a security guard, and he took off. Well, that's fucking likely to happen, man. But if you've got fucking bolt action on every single door, huh?
That's also had 3 cops there that didn't go in either.
We talked about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, folks. My dad just heard the conversation and had to jump in. That's fine. But no, fucking now you throw me.
You should get him in next time and talk about this.
He won't come on the podcast. I've been trying. He's just like, I need to prepare. I was like, everyone says they need to prepare.
Don't need to prepare.
Anyway.
Talk shit. It's all good.
Everyone talks shit, but anyway. Okay, I'm planning on doing a proper video, but last article, and this is exactly what I'm getting at when it comes to talk about. We'll do these last two real quick. In Florida, instead of gun sales going down, at these fucking shows, these gun shows, they have record numbers as attendees amid gun control debate. The manager for the Florida... Hang on, let me bring this up. The manager for the Florida gun show, George I'm not reading that.
Some dude.
Yeah, so George F. says that they've never seen such a big crowd. That's the thing. Thousands of gun enthusiasts, more so than ever, flocked to the Florida State fairgrounds for the Florida gun show event. This is my point. A tragedy happens and people are like, well, no, I want a gun so I fucking,
Defend myself,
because I'm not sending my son to school if he's going to be unprotected.
Yeah.
So gun sales every time go up because of this. But we won't get into that article too much. To end, one paper. How good is
On
that?
the paper, sweet.
Yeah, ended on Ohio sheriff offers free gun training to 50 teachers. Forced to cap at 300 after huge response.
Yeah.
So he was just like, "Hey man, I'll take 50 and we'll train them and and 300 like well, we need to fucking learn." But that's the thing.
Sort of a normal response to something like that, because I shouldn't say normal.
Well, they're
It's
the
gonna be-
first one on like what's the old saying? When minutes count or when seconds count, cops are always minutes away. You know what I mean? And it's a sad truth. That's nothing against the cops, except for those 4 that fucking stood outside the building
and ran away and shit.
and ran away. Like fucking cowardly fucking ducks, fucking pieces of fucking shit. Seriously, man, that just makes me angry. You know what I mean? Their kids are getting shot. Their kids are maybe they're not their kids.
Yeah.
I guarantee it could be completely different if there was their kids. But it took another fucking station. This is where the conspiracies come in, man.
Yeah.
When they find out that there was a drill held that day for a gun shooting that happened the exact same or around the same time, that the teachers were thinking, "Oh fuck, it's the drill."
Yeah.
But to land, and as I said before, nobody knows how they would react in a bad situation like this. Fine.
Nobody's trained for it. No one's ever-
Fine. I'll give you that.
Most people haven't been through that sort of stuff.
But what about that teacher, man? That fucking guy that fucking threw himself in front of the fucking students and that. He had no gun. He was still willing to protect these students.
Yeah.
And this is all I'm saying, man. The teachers are the first line. If the security and the cops are unwilling to help, just give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they had hay fever that day. So I'm just trying to make make a joke about a terrible situation. I don't know. Fucking maybe something happened. They couldn't go in. Whatever, man. But the first line of defense would be then the teachers. You know what I mean? They're right at the door.
No one else there to help.
I mean, have you been to a nursing home?
Not for a long time, actually.
Like when my grandma was at a nursing home, anytime we had to get in, we had to know the code.
Yeah.
You had to know the code to type in, and then you had the what's the code again? You yelled to the nurse. Oh, it's da 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 da. But before that, you can't enter. That fucking door's locked, and it's locked for the Alzheimer's patients who. Well, one of my first days there, I was visiting my grandma, and this old girl was standing at the door, and she's trying to get out, pull at the door. I thought I'd be nice and I let her out because she wanted to get outside. So I walked over and I typed in the code and I opened the door, and there you go. And this look of fucking joy on her face. And she was leaving. Next thing I know, fucking 3 nurses just rushed by me. And drag her back in. She's like, she's got Alzheimer's. She would have walked out on the road, stripped her clothes off, and who knows what,
And done some crazy shit.
She would have done some crazy, we're doing it for her own protection. How's that any different than protecting the kids? You're going to have that on hospital doors, but not on school doors? Yeah. Oh, you're making it more like a prison. If kids are getting killed in the school, then I don't give a fuck if they think they're trapped in a Pink Floyd video. Seriously, I don't fucking care. It's fucking school. Go to learn. You know what I mean? Like fucking, they'll let you out during lunch. They don't do that. They don't do that all the time for the prisoners. My point is, my point is simply this: we need to adopt a similar system to what Sweden has. Everyone needs, and they force people to learn how to use their firearms. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're at a certain age, you've got to learn how to use this. You know what I mean?
You got to know how to
use
these things.
It's no different than a car, man. Like fucking, you want a car, you're gonna have to know how to use it. It's no
responsibly.
Same thing with a fucking gun, man. You want to be able to use it. You're gonna have to use it. Tragedy will strike. You might be walking down the street and get mugged, or, you know what I mean, or something like that. Like, I have 2 nieces, man. It scares me all the fucking time. What's gonna happen when they go out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, fuck, worse. You know, not even worse. Like, but there's Facebook now. You know what I mean? Like, social embarrassment that could happen to them on Facebook is one thing, but to be walking down the street completely defenseless, pissed out of their brain,
Yeah.
and so, you know, 4
Somehow
fucking
it's
dudes
something,
come out
yeah.
behind them, man. Like, fuck it, listen. Again, like, you know, some feminist is going to be watching this and going, haha, see, toxic masculinity, rapists. It's like,
Yeah.
not all men. Anyway,
Not
not all men, hashtag not all men. But it does fucking happen. It can fucking happen. The threat is fucking there. You're talking about somebody who's, you know, knocked themselves fucking wacko on who knows what. Could be just alcohol. That's bad enough. Who knows what else they've fucking been taking while they're out.
Yeah.
Whatever low ambitions they fucking have. Maybe they're angry because they've just got dumped. You know what I mean? Not saying that's an excuse. But again, you don't trust or fuck with a stranger.
Some people ain't excuses just enough, unfortunately.
And see, it scares me to think that fucking, you know, they're fucking, you know, fathers are cops, so, you know, it's not much that can happen. You know, I feel sorry for the poor boy who actually goes there for a genuine date one day. You know, you know what I mean? I already told him, I want to be there.
Like fucking bad boys. Be like, guys,
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. Oh, we should do that, and I'll be that drunk guy. Like, who's it? Jeremy, yeah, or whatever the guy's name. I love that scene. Best fucking. Yeah. Oh, poor dude. Oh, yeah. But so I feel sorry for that kid, you know. But at the same time, man, I want to protect my fucking niece, and the only way I can see her doing that is to either know how to fight, know how to defend herself, or if worst case scenario and the guy is bigger than her, because guys do have fucking upper body strength more than women. Again, that's the fucking, you know, that's the rule, not the exception. There are exceptionals out there like Ronda Rousey. I wouldn't be I'll be walking up the street and Ronda Rousey would head the other way. I would cower that little bit, you know. Oh, fucking oath, man. Like, I wouldn't want to cross her on a fucking bad day. But in saying that, I love Ronda Rousey. Like, seriously, like, fucking. Anyway, I'm not going to get off on my crush. I'm not going to get on my crush on Ronda Rousey. But anyway, yeah.
Look how you're training and stuff. Like, do they, or Sweden or where it is, do they only just do it once, or do they do it continually, like, throughout their life?
What do you mean, like?
With the gun.
Oh,
stuff?
It'd be refresher courses, like, you know. I'm pretty sure you'd have a refresher course
So
just to
that's
sort
something
of
with
to
guns.
renew your license type of thing. Like, you have to go and get a health check. If you have a gun, I don't see why you wouldn't get a mental health check and say, "Hey, man, can you still operate this fucking thing? Oh, let's go out in the back room where we got the range set up, and we'll test if you can still if you can use the gun or not," type of thing. So that I don't know, but the statistics are there, man. Like, fucking, there are low gun shootings in Sweden. There are no mass shootings in Sweden. And it is because everyone knows how to safely use a gun. And the people who don't have guns are the mentally ill who can't get guns. You know what I mean? And everyone's saying, more background checks. More background checks wouldn't have stopped this kid. Because the cops didn't do any, like, again, Florida. Like, I'm not even going to mention his name because I think that fucking help. It adds to it, you know what I mean? Like, when somebody jumps off a bridge, they tell the news, don't fucking broadcast that. Because then they'll have to send patrol cars there the next day because people will try and recreate it because they saw it on the news the night before. It's a sense of fame. I don't think it's any different than these mass shooters. I think they see fucking 17 dead and they're like, oh, I can do better than that. They're crazy, remember? Like, you know what I mean? And instead of just fucking taking themselves out, they're going to go out in a blaze of glory and take out a bunch of other fucking people. Oh, that fucking camera's still going. That's unbelievable. Anyway, sorry.
It's black and white now.
Huh? It almost is, man. I'll adjust it, don't worry. Anyway, listen, fucking, I think we've reached the end of this. We repeated ourselves a couple of times, but I'm pretty sure we've clarified.
Tangents and shit.
Yeah, but that's like, the audience is used to that by now. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, 2 years, and they're like, they never stay on topic. I remember a friend of mine asked me the other day because I invited him on the show, and he's just like, all right, I'll come on, but can we organise it a less what's the word he used? Freebasing. You know what I mean? Just going for it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know.
He wanted
I'd
like
like
a structure to it. and
He
shit
wanted
like
a
that.
structure to it. And I'm like, but it's not really genuine. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, I'd rather bring someone on the show than halfway through, say, mention guns. Like, we didn't talk about guns prior to doing this. I don't
No.
think we've ever talked about guns. So even bringing it up, I was curious. I'm like, oh, what are, you know, are we going to find similar ground? Are we going to be
Yeah.
different on this? You know what I mean? And it's more genuine if you get someone in there and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And they'll argue their point. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it sounds less rehearsed, and honestly, I think that's the way podcasts should be. They should be more like fucking Joe Rogan than fucking all these other podcasts that lay out, oh, here's the topic we're going to cover. We're going to cover Islam, then we're going to cover this and that, and you know, and go through a list. I just don't see that working.
That's
And
why I asked you, and I was like, oh, should I like research some shit?
Yeah,
before I
yeah,
go
yeah,
in?
and
like,
I'll-
I'm like not sure what to expect.
as I said to you, man, I was like, I just go for it, man.
Just
And
cuff sort of shit. Yeah.
like right now, I could honestly say we could probably go for another 3 hours. And remember, I said at the very start, I always get fucking nervous. That
Yeah.
very start of the show, I'm always like, God damn it, run, what are you doing? But I get to 3 hour mark, and I'm like, come on, let's keep going. This is good.
Yeah.
And we haven't hit the point. You know, I haven't hit my points yet. But then it's like, no, dude, it's 3 hours, so time to fucking put a kibosh. Is kibosh? Anyway, I shouldn't use other language that I don't fully understand.
Stick to what you know.
Stick to what I know. But coming soon, we're going to start doing some some pretty famous people have agreed to do the podcast, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much in case they cancel. Well, no, because
Yeah.
in case they like,
Oh,
hey man, you said I was doing the podcast. We haven't even finished, you know, talking about what we're going to, you know, so they might cancel. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, because I thought the other day, why don't I want to get some interviews going. Why don't I just send out some some fucking emails? Like, I got a bunch of, you know, a list of people that I wanted to interview. What if I
Yeah.
just sent out emails, see what they say? Gad Sad, Jordan Peterson, who haven't got back to me yet. Just saying.
Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Just a bunch of other people. And
Yeah.
surprisingly enough, fucking 5 of the 8 got, you know, back to me. And they're like, sure, man, fucking when do you want to do it? And sometime most of the time it's like, hi, this is so-and-so. You know, I represent, you know,
This
this
person,
person. Like, Steve Hughes, I have to go through his people in order to get him on the show. But fuck,
Yeah.
oh shit, I shouldn't have done it. I was trying not to drop any names. But
You said it earlier.
I did. Oh, okay. Well, I end up then. Trying to get him on the show, and all these people are just like, yeah, he's on holiday. I'm like, it's March. He's not on holiday anymore. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so trying to get certain people, and like I think they watch the podcast, and like conspiracy theorists. Yeah, no, we're not gonna.
Like, man, don't touch
We're
that.
not. Yeah, we're not. Yeah. He's a fucking vampire. You know.
Yeah.
I heard he did a whole episode about Trump. Nope. You know what I mean?
Can't talk about that.
Yeah. Anyway, but it's actually been a really fucking good podcast, man. I've enjoyed this. Like, we probably didn't nail as much as I wanted to, and I was probably a bit scrambled here and there, man. But fucking, I thoroughly enjoyed this. And if you want to come back anytime, man, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, man.
We should be filming next week, so fucking, if you want to come back, we'll do another. Well, I guess that's all from us. If you want to check out more, we're on. Type in Southern Cross Resistance. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter now. There's a joke going for ages. We weren't on Twitter, and like I'll do the ending of the show. Check out us on Facebook. Check us out on Twitter. Wait, we're not on Twitter. Don't go there. We're on YouTube. DTube is actually a new platform, and a few other places. Just type in Southern Cross Resistance, and you should find us. I've been Chris Learson.
David O'Reilly.
This is Southern Cross Resistance. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.